Sorry, girl, but you missed out. Well, tough luck, that boy's mine now. We are more than just good friends. This is how the story ends. Too bad that you couldn't see. Hey guys, how's it going? It is I, the real Randy Chavez, coming at you with Foster Hilt and Dashy over here. I don't even.
Everyone say hi to Dashy. Hi, Dashy.
Hi, Dashy. Okay, right off the bat, $5 super chat from Veve Darkling saying, "Let's go, let's get that bread." Also, before we get started, I do have one thing. We had a bunch of people. I don't know if you saw it on my stream yesterday. There was a bunch of people that had sold their IDOs for like $1.4 or $1.1 instead of like. So Wraithax, good buddy of mine, wound up buying number 1680, and that is somebody that had originally sold it for $1.4, I think, or
Wow.
yeah. So he got that, and he's looking to try to reunite it with the original owner. I already contacted Ecomi, but if anybody knows somebody that bought it, just let me know, and we'll.
Oh wow, that's admirable. I respect that.
Yeah, he paid like $1,400 for it. I was like, damn, he's just a good dude.
Wow.
He's just a gem. He's just a bro. So yeah, if anyone knows anyone that did that, let me know. I'm
I think you're gonna have a lot of people saying they were the ones that did it, but
I'm
we'll
working with Ecomi to verify. Also, I
Nice.
messaged them like, hey, just verify the accounts so that nobody can try to pull one over on us.
Yeah, that's good.
So we had one heck of an AMA yesterday. I mean, not us, but Ecomi. And what was your favorite? Like, what was the one that was like, oh my god, no, they didn't. Like, no heckin' way.
I mean, the obvious one is just the Master Collector program and the OMI utility articles, just to spill in the bag. But because we're going to get into that, I'll pick one other moment. I would say, and not to toot my own horn, but while I was up speaking on stage and David, was just answering like what he's looking forward to and what he's excited about for the project. And you could just feel the passion with all of the projects that they have rolling out coming in and just to show that we're just so heckin' early. It's mind blowing. It's just mind blowing the amount of things that they're going to roll out. And then, just for David to say like, hey, on our 1 year anniversary, we purposely lined up a bunch of licensing agreements for like, they have so many people coming in that just for the lulls, they're like, oh, we'll line it up for today. Like it's just crazy.
How many people can do that also.
I know.
Like it's not like a company is like, whenever we can get them, we can get them. Doesn't matter what date, but they're purposely doing it for this.
Yeah.
Just because they can. They're so good at what they do that they can do something like this. It's like I forget Simone Biles. Like the girl that can do all these amazing tricks as a gymnast. Everyone else has to like struggle to do. They'll break themselves trying to do it, and she's like, I can do that before my morning coffee. So yeah, they're crazy. The big, I guess two big things that I really loved. One was the renting out collectibles, which I was like, oh girl. And then the other one was saying that they didn't say Animal Crossing specifically, but they said that you're going to have a house on your land that everyone's going to have, and you're going to be able to furnish that house with like plants and furniture and decorations. Yeah, of course you're going to have your NFTs, but other stuff as well that's going to be in the OMI store for the Veve store. You're going to be able to pay with either points or OMI. And I was like, oh my God, people are going to go nuts with this.
And there were so many mechanisms that they introduced. Well, I mean, we knew some of them were coming, but just all of the catalysts that they mentioned that would burn OMI or that you could use OMI for. Even in the OMI staking program, they were talking about how you'll be able to, and I think we talked about this on a previous live, and how you might be able to wager some OMI in order to get early access to a specific collectible drop. And like, depending on what the collectible is, I mean, I could see people, wagering a ton of OMI just to be able to get early access to something like that. And then all the while that automatically burns it out of the circulating supply. So which
is ridiculous. That's crazy. And it makes sense to do that too, because if it's something that you really want and it's something with not a lot of mints, like maybe I won't get this on the drop because you can't, there's so many people. And let's say it's like, Edo going from $90 to $1,000, it makes 100% sense to say, like, you know what, I'm going to guarantee myself this, and I'm going to put in $500 worth of OMI just to burn. And
exactly.
Oh my goodness, 1,000 people doing that. It's $500,000 worth of OMI. Oh.
It's insane. If you had to guess, because Dan obviously said it's going to be limited. It's not just going to be, and for people in the chat that may not have heard the MA last night, it's not, hey, if 1,000 people, wager OMI and there's only 1,000 collectibles, those 1,000 people get it over anyone else. Like, I would imagine it'll be a small percent. My guess is anywhere between 5 and 15%. But what do you have a number that you imagine we will see?
I would have said like the lower end of that, maybe 5. Because again, if you have even at 100,000 collectibles, which is a lot, 5,000. Yeah, I guess it depends on which
because
one.
The mints are randomized too, right? So it's not like you're guaranteed to get mints 41 through whatever. And like but I guess even like if it's 1,000 collectible drop, 5% is still 50 collectibles. And if you know, like as an example, the Golden Dragon Girl, it's going for $3,000. Like if you know you can wager $1,000 in Omi, get it, and then have it go up to $3,000. I mean that might be worth it for people, right? So
yeah. That's I didn't know it went up that much. But when they mentioned secret rares, that secret rare Labbit went from like I don't know, like $400 to like $889 it was yesterday. I don't know what it is right now. I FOMO'd in. I sold a Blaine's Charizard yesterday for like, and it's worth more than $5, but I sold it for like $4,700.
Yeah.
And I just like, all right, I got that sale. I'm going to go and I bought the Captain America secret rare because I needed to.
Yeah.
And because, you know, again, the secret rare completed a set. White Rabbit says, to help with your continuous black nail look, Itachi approved. Why, thank you. I got my nails done yesterday. I am feeling so good. I can't wait to go to the gym later and be like, ugh.
Yeah. Just bring it right out. Yeah.
Yeah. Doing some pull-ups and all that.
Yeah.
So were you, so you were speaking yesterday.
Yes.
I did not get a chance to, as I getting the nails done, and then I had to drive and other stuff. What was your favorite speaker? What was your favorite person that spoke? Any good questions that you saw?
So I liked Mikinobi, the first guy that went up. I actually really like, you could tell he was excited. Yeah. And like it was awesome to be up on stage and whatever, but I appreciated his candor when it came to just like, he wasn't just a fanboy. He was like, hey, listen, like I love this project, and it showed, but you could tell there was things about the project that he wasn't 100% happy about, and you could tell it was hurting him. You know what I mean? Like and it wasn't one of those, you know, I'm just going to complain for the sense of complaining, which a lot of people do, no offense, but it happens. But like he came up with a problem and was requesting tangible solutions. And I love anyone that comes up on stage that's willing to create a conversation to get the flow of ideas going. And that's part of the reason that I asked my question to Trevor about drops and bots, and to try and get that conversation going. Because I think what we see a lot in the community right now is we have a lot of people that love the project, that see absolutely no fault in it, and people don't like those people. And then you have the realists that sit somewhere in the middle, but you know, people blow that out of context and proportion sometimes. And then you have the people that just want to spread FUD and hate absolutely everything that they're doing, regardless of how good that they're doing. And for me, I think starting the conversation to get as many people involved, get as many ideas, and just get the information out there, because it's clear to me when people are listening to AMAs, or I'll be on Twitter afterwards and talking to people, and they'll say something, and it's like, this was addressed 20 minutes ago. Like, and you're freaking out about the fact that this isn't happening, or that you want it to happen. And it's like, they literally just talked about this. So I like when people come up and they present a balanced perspective, which is, you know, we have some positives going. These are the things we need to improve on. How can we get there? Because I think that's beneficial for all holders. And it's not just the, you know, when Pokemon and all of that. So,
yeah. Did you have anything that is like, maybe this is something that I don't like from the stream yesterday?
Yes, I did. Yeah. Well, here's the thing. And obviously it's still open up to interpretation until the Master Collector Program article comes out itself. But there was, and I had to listen to it back. Shout out to whoever corrected me on Twitter. I'm not always right, so thank you for calling me out when I'm not. We were speaking about the Master Collector Program rewards as it pertains to holding collectibles and sets, and how that may reward you with points. And I was under the impression that it was 1 point or whatever points for each collectible that you own. And then you will get additional points for completing full sets, but having duplicates.
Which all that is still true.
Yes.
Like that. Yeah. So.
Yeah. But having duplicates of the same collectible wouldn't count towards completing points or completing sets. It would just be, you know, whatever, let's say there's 500 collectibles that have been released on the app up to date. You could get up to a maximum of 500 points for that purpose for owning one of every collectible. But then when I listened to it back, and Dan, to his credit, said he wasn't sure and he was going to have to go back and ask the team. But someone brought up, if I own 3 Supermans, do I get, 3 points for 3 completed sets? And Dan was like, yeah, I think that's the case, but I'm going to have to go back and check with the team. And, granted, he's not sure, so I'm not going to go around spreading a bunch of FUD and whatever. But if on the app right now, I own 4 of one collectible, I only show up as having 1 completed set right now. So I don't see why all of a sudden you would now get extra rewards for completing multiples of the same set or being rewarded for.
That's why I never really collected more than one of things.
Yeah.
Because, like, all right, because it doesn't show up in that set. And again, that goes where that clout is, where that virtual thing, like, oh, it doesn't show me as more completed sets, so I'm not going to get it because people don't see the awasomeness that I'm creating.
Yeah.
But I do have two different feelings about that, though.
Okay.
One, it's that, whales are going to come in. They're just going to buy all the cheap. Like, there's going to be no more cheap sets left. That James Bond poster, Series 4, you can still get for under $300, or at least it was yesterday. And if suddenly that's going to count as a completed set, I think that's the cheapest set. So you just buy a bunch of those, and suddenly you have more completed sets than somebody that has, let's say, 3 Starfires or 3 Bardas, something like that. Or what's the point of getting some of these other big ones like a Lucky if it's only going to give you so many points? The other way I feel about that is that, well, I have most of these sets, so regardless of what I have, like, they're all going to go up in value. And again, kind of like that staking, whatever burns owe me, whatever goes and does that. So I do kind of feel 2 different ways about it.
So here's, I got into, I don't want to say I got into it with someone on Twitter because that sounds like it's an argument. It was a great conversation and we were throwing around perspectives back and forth to one another. And I'm trying to find the guy's name because shout out, because it was a great conversation. B Farley 31. Thank you for challenging me on your thoughts and having the conversation because it's important. But we were going back and forth because, I brought in an example that Peggy Carter is currently it's a 1 of 1 to complete a set. And it's currently the cheapest set to complete on VV. Maybe one of the 007 poster set is relative, but we'll just go with it for this example. So I can buy a Peggy Carter for $300, and it completes a set and it's a collectible. So I get, let's pretend each of those is 1 point for doing each of those things. I now get 2 points. He said, well, I own 4 Supermans and I own 2 Lucky Rabbits. So he now has 4 Supermans, so he gets 4 points for having 4 collectibles, and he gets a point for completing the set for Superman, so he has 5. And then he has Lucky, and let's pretend that a secret rare gives you an extra point, because we know you get an extra reward. So you get an extra point for getting Lucky, for completing the set, and for owning a collectible. So he has 2 Luckies, which also gives him 5 points. It would cost him, at the floor price for what those are now, assuming he didn't get them on the drop, it would cost him $9,000 to own those 6 collectibles. Because Superman's about $900 and he owns 4 of them. And then the secret rare Lucky's $3,200 or whatever. So it's $9,000. So then I said in response, okay, that's fine. But I can now go out and buy 10 Peggy Carters, which are $300, right? They're a little bit more now, but at the time, I could buy 3, so I would spend $3,000. You would spend $9,000. But because I have 10 of them, I now get 10 points. And because it's a 1 of 1 that completes a set, I now have 11 points. So I spent $3,000 and I have 1 more point than you, who now has 10 points, but you spent $9,000. So then we can extrapolate this and blow it up even further. Perfect example. And he's doing an interview with Taps Trades tomorrow. Brock McBlockchain, big in the community, has a ridiculous amount of not just collectibles, but we're talking like sub 100 collectibles, like exact same mint numbers that complete sets from season 1. Like, his portfolio is worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. I can now go out, assuming that my interpretation of how they're doing it, and each collectible gives you a point regardless if you have duplicates or not. I could go out and buy Marvel Mighties, like the cheapest one, the cheapest common, I think is like $9 right now. I could go out and, spend maybe $3,000 and get 300 of those, and I could conceivably have more collectibles and more points than Brock, who has spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on the app. To
That's
me,
true.
that it just doesn't. And maybe I'm wrong. Like maybe I'm misinterpreting something. Maybe there is a clause in the program that they're putting in that we just haven't seen yet because the documentation hasn't come out. But to me, it just doesn't make any sense to reward you for holding multiples of the same collectible, because not all collectibles are created equal. Like I said, you could hold a bunch of Donnies and I could hold a bunch of Mighties, and my collection for Master Collector is now valued at more than yours because I'm earning more points, which means that I get to spend them on the lottery, which means I'm now getting conceivably access to, possibly at least, to drops before you in the future. So now when your fandom comes out and you want to spend money, I get access to it before you, but I had to. And once again, I don't want it to be a pay to win. That's not what I'm saying. That's why I'm saying one collectible should be 1 point to a maximum of one collectible per account. And then if you want to give people extra points for having a secret rare or having the completed set, perfectly fine by me. I have no issue with that. But I do have an issue with doing that, because not only does it make it unfair for the people that spent a lot of money, but what it also does is it's going to cause whales to come in and sweep up all the floors of the cheap collectibles. And then a new person that's going to come in that doesn't have a lot of money is going to go, great, I can't buy a Marvel Mighty that was released at $13 that's now $200 because the floor has been artificially manipulated because a whale bought all of them.
100 points. So I think two things that might come out in the article that maybe wasn't talked about yesterday. Well, definitely one thing. But one of the things that I think he touched on yesterday was having a cap, saying like, okay, well, you could have maybe max of like 5 of each collectible.
Okay.
And then after that, you don't get any more points. So it kind of stops them from getting like 20 of those Marvel Mighties, which is $200. So it's nothing. And the other thing is, you ever see Fairy Tail, an anime?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, it's so good. So good. So typically, anime does have or at least up until recently, the past decade, it has had an issue of spreading the power around. Like there was always, a couple of characters that it would just fall on them. Like in Pokemon, it was Ash's Charizard. Oh, can't beat anything up, throw out Charizard. And then in Dragon Ball Z, it was, the Saiyans. Like, oh, we can't beat this enemy. Well, throw out a Saiyan, throw out, Goku, Gohan, Vegeta, whatever. But in Fairy Tail, they had this thing where they really good job of spreading the power around. Like this one specializes in this one specializes in that. And I think that maybe this might be David's way of saying like, okay, well, to kind of spread the power around, like, we want to have some of these that are worth not a lot to be worth a little bit more, so that these that are really, really low mints are not too OP. And maybe they just say that, well, this is a good way for people that can only spend $10 or $20 to eventually catch up, because so many people are going to buy those $10 to $20. Maybe that's not it. It kind of sounds stupid now that I'm saying it, but it was just a thought.
No, man, it's a great thought. And like I said, I really like the concept that you've brought up of a cap per account. And I would be far more open from a collector perspective. So even David Yu says he buys 3 of every collectible that he can, 1 to hold, 1 to trade, and 1 to sell. So if you want to give, up to a maximum of 5 collectibles per account, I think that's a great idea, because it doesn't create any additional incentive to hold 100 of them. No. So what that allows is other people that are coming to the app now have access to that. They can feel like they're participating in the Master Collector program. They can earn their rewards, but people that are holding collectibles, if they have the money to, have 5 each or whatever, then that's perfectly fine. It doesn't create a crazy advantage, and it doesn't undervalue certain collectibles. Because like I said, there's no reason that me holding Peggy Carter should be as valuable as Todd Batman or Secret Rare Spider-Man or Donnie, because all collectibles are not created equal, and sure, they may not sell for equal prices, but in the Master Collector program, if they're all weighted the same, and there's no cap on the limit, that's where I'm like that can get a little dicey. Someone threw out an idea to me while we were talking earlier about this concept on socials, and he said, like, what if, and I don't know if this is already included or what your thoughts are, but what if like a common collectible is weighted at like 0.25 of a point relative to like a secret rare, and then maybe like as we move up at like 0.4, 0.6, 0.8, and then a secret rare is a full point. Do you, I don't know how I feel about the concept, but do you like that, or would you prefer it's just a collectible is 1 point regardless of what its branding, what its brand, and how many editions there are?
Yeah. I mean, if I don't know, points would be like 0.5 would be hard, but 1 point for a common, maybe 2 for an uncommon, 3 for rare, and so on and so forth, and maybe ultra rare and secret rares get a little more points. I don't know how they're going to do this retroactively, where they said that you're going to get points for however long you've had them and for each day, and so we're going to start off with like 1,000 points probably. Like it's again that does not bode well for me, because I've only really started collecting collectibles since like June or July, because I was just all about Omi beforehand.
Yeah.
So somebody that only spent maybe a couple $100, and this is what I like about it too. Someone that only spent maybe a couple $100 that started in December of last year, January, that's been holding for so long, and I think that gives the OGs a better chance, where someone like me can come in, spend $40,000, $50,000, and they can have as much points as me just because they've been hodling longer. Yeah. And I think that incentivizes collecting as opposed to flipping, because you can flip and make money, but you're not going to keep those points. Like you're going to get more points if you hodl them longer. Yeah, which is really good. And you mentioned rewards. The rewards, I don't know if you ever played World of Warcraft or League of Legends, have you?
I haven't, but I've obviously seen gameplay of them and stuff, yeah.
I don't know how much it typically runs for a subscription service for those games. Like, maybe you get a certain amount of mana, a certain amount of whatever. But they mentioned subscription service for this, and I'd be like, oh my goodness. Like, I would pay I'd pay however much, because not only are you, not only is everyone going to be paying an Omi or maybe fiat, but also because you have a, you get more points. You get like a multiplier or something like that. And Braythax says a scalable system makes sense and rewarding to those that invest early and more. I would agree with that. Sorry, I dropped my scissor. I would agree with that as far as definitely the scalable point system, rewarding those that invest in early. I guess investing more that would benefit some of us. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I mean, quickly on the MCP Pro concept. Actually, I did an interview on my channel last week with the Todd Father, Stevie Phil 92 on Twitter. And for those of you that don't know, he was holding 40 million Omi and about 1,600 collectibles at the time, and he sold all of his Omi, all 40 million of it, and went all in on collectibles. So I have my own thoughts on the concept of it, and that's fine. But suffice to say, like collectibles and whatever are going to be worth a lot. But he actually brought up in our interview that he felt as though something like this was going to be coming, some form of subscription based service, and even the concept of like, even if it's $10 a month, like. And someone was talking about it on Twitter with me earlier today. Like, I mean, you pay $16 a month for Netflix, you'll pay $15 a month for Spotify or whatever the case may be. Like, this is going to give you access to point multipliers, possibly early access. Like, dude, it's just going to be like, it's not going to be pay to win, because it's literally just going to be the cost of doing business. Like, every single person that uses this app, it's going to be the same thing as like buying a Marvel Mighty. You're going to spend the $10 because you want access to it. And it's just going to be absolutely crazy. And I do believe, and although it hasn't been announced, I do believe that it will burn Omi directly. I think they're looking at working in as much utility as possible. And it's going to add up very quickly, in my opinion. Like, if you have 1 million people subscribe to this service, and even if it's just $10, like $10 of Omi, but for 1 million people, like that's $10 million. That's $10 million a month of buy and burn pressure of Omi, and that's just one fat. So like,
and that's out of the circulating supply.
And that's directly out of the circulating supply. So like, it's I can't wait for it. Like, I'm definitely going to be subscribed to it. But it adds the added benefit of, if you're a bot and you have 30 accounts, are you going to subscribe to this service on 30 accounts a month? Right?
Some people probably will.
They might.
Maybe not that many accounts,
but bots usually are buying to flip, right? So are these bots, if we say that a bot issue is still an issue, like, are they going to be holding enough collectibles on 30 accounts to be able to spend the points to get early access to the drops and do all this? So like, all of this is rewarding real people and collectors. It's disenfranchising anyone that is solely coming in to do this as a business, like I'm literally only buying to flip on the secondary market, yeah, you might still be able to get the occasional drop, but the people that are actually collecting, using the app, engaging with the community, they are going to get the advantage. And I think for an app that's based on collecting, that's how it should be.
Yeah, and I also think that they did mention, say, that you would get, I don't know if it's a point or a certain amount of points every time you buy a collectible.
Yeah.
I don't think they made the distinction of buying from the store or buying from the secondary market. So what like me and you could do, and I don't know if I would do this, but we could just go back and forth, going with gems. Like, oh, hey, list this for 100 gems, and I buy it, and I list it for 100 gems, and you buy, and we go back and forth. Sure, we lose $2.50 every time we do that because of 2.5%. But how much are points worth? Are they going to be? And we don't even have to do that for $100. We can do that for $10 or $5. We just go back and forth.
Yeah.
Although $5 somebody else might buy it. But you know, something that's only worth $9 or $10, we list it for 20. We go back and forth. We only lose like $1, like not even $1, like 50 cents every time it goes back and forth.
Yeah.
Just buying more points. So I don't know, that could probably be taken advantage of. And I'm thinking about it now. I probably hope they don't do that because it is still spending money, and you are burning more OMI as you do that. So
I mean, there's always going to be ways to game and manipulate the system, and people will always look to explore those options. I have no problem with people looking to gain an advantage. I mean, that's life, right? Like that's what we do. Yeah. But I have an issue if a mechanic is in place that is, and this is coming from a video game background, like game breaking. So as an example, hackers, when I play Warzone, is a game breaking mechanic, right? Like now I have a Microsoft Elite controller that I play with. I have paddles on the back of it, right? So this is a product that is sold and licensed officially from the manufacturer, but it gives me an advantage per se because I can do things while keeping my thumbs on the sticks and other people can't. So that is to me an advantage that's legitimate. Hacking is an illegitimate advantage. So it's similar with this, right? Like I have no problem if people find a loophole to take advantage of. I have a problem with, hey, you can own 500 Peggy Carters and have the most valuable collection on Veve over someone that's been spending tens of hundreds of thousands of dollars and has every complete set. So
yeah, agreed. Also they did mention at DCon, which I'm probably going to go to.
Nice.
I'm probably going to go to that Designer Con, that they will be able eventually. I don't know if they're going to do it there, but you will be able to get something digitally signed. I think what they did was it was like a couple months ago, maybe we all passed around to Todd, and because apparently it's signed if you have ownership of it, because I guess on the blockchain. It'll show when you're on the blockchain, who it was owned by. So what they did was, I had it. I gave it to like Taps, who gave it to Johnny Dunn, who gave it to whatever. It was just a bunch of the content creators at the time. I think you might have just started at that point, so maybe.
No, hey man, I'm still a nobody. It's all good. I'm not
you got
worried.
1,000 subscribers now, so you got it. You got it.
Thanks, man.
So just NFT and B, yes, we will be able to have that in the future. I don't know if it's going to be at Designer Con, but I will be going to that. Somebody offered me their freaking flyer miles. I'm splitting a hotel with Taps. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. We're going to take embarrassing photos of each other.
I just looked up the price, and it's over $500 for me to fly from Ottawa to Anaheim, and I'd have to get permission from the boss, aka the wife. So I don't know if I'll be able to make it for this one, but I'm hoping come in and like I've made a commitment to myself that when OMI goes over 7 cents, and I've made $1 million off of OMI, that I will make an effort to go out to as many of these events as possible, because then I can afford it, right? Like right now, I would probably have to sell some OMI or do something to do that. And I'm just, and not that I don't love the fam, I do, but it's just like, I'm not willing to do that right now. But once it goes up, like I have no problem liquidating like $10,000 worth of OMI and just putting that as like a travel fund aside. And then like heading out to Europe to hang out with,
Champ and Hello K,
and everything, and going down to the States to see you guys. Like I can't wait to do that. So
yeah, that'd be awesome. And also they mentioned yesterday that not only will we have will they be burning yesterday like half of the rest of the Captain America's commons and uncommons, but they also said today, I think that there's going to be no more of them on the store. Is that right? Am I remembering that correctly?
Yeah, I think they said something about that. They said, 50%, and then if they're still not, they're just going to remove them from the store, which, and I heard someone, and here's the thing, right? Like, I don't like to argue with people. I love to have conversations, but it's like, sometimes people just say things and it's like, what? Like, so this came out and I said, hey guys, this is amazing. I just bought one on the store. It was a sub 1000 mint. This was like a week ago when they made the first announcement. I was like, you guys should all buy one. Like, it's an awesome idea. Yeah. They're still low mints and like whatever. And people were like, well, they're burning them. Like, why would I do that? Like, it's going to lower the value of my collectible. And in my head, I'm like, they're reducing the mint numbers. Like, what do you mean? It's like, it's making your collectible more valuable. Well, no, they're just going to take our collectibles from us. I'm like, what is going on here? Like why are we having this conversation? And like I said, so I do my best to try and have conversations and educate, but like at the same time, like guys, like do research, right? Like honestly, like I have lose the customer. Yeah, like I have no problem, but like Veve does their best to release the information, and I don't always agree with the messaging and how it's released. Like I had someone message me yesterday, and someone was complaining as per usual on a Veve post, and Veve like burned them hard. Like it was like they own the
spill the tea, Foster.
Man, I don't remember what the comment was about, but someone said like, oh, it's something, and then like in 2 words they're like, it's not, and everyone was like, oh damn, but then they were like, really, this is how you're going to respond to your customers and stuff. So like it was funny. Like, don't get me wrong, like I thought it was hilarious, but I also understood their perspective. Like, if a customer is making a complaint, even if they're a Karen, they're still a customer, right? So like, yeah, I get it. So it's like, I try and be, and I don't even work for Veve. Like I can say whatever the hell I want and like whatever, but like even I do my best. Like people will disagree with me and I'll be like, hey, but did you think of this? But it gets to a point sometimes where even I'm like, you're just not getting it. And like, that's okay. That's okay. But like, if you don't get it and all you're going to do is just harp the entire time and like you're not bringing anything productive, like it just gets to a point where I'm just going to stop entertaining the conversation.
Yeah, I like constructive criticism. But yeah, sometimes people are just like complain to complain. But yeah, I mean, what's the point of like having your own business and having like all this like FU money? You can't say like heck off every now. That's probably the wrong way to go about it.
But even like a perfect example during the AMA yesterday, Reese brings up, hey, Master Collector, do we have a time frame? And Dan, just for the lulz, is like, well, didn't I say 2023? Like, so they know, like they have owned the fact that they're not the best at giving out timeframes, right? So instead of being miserable about it and whatever, they're having fun with it. They're trying to, engage the community, have a good time about it, try and make it lighthearted as this experience is supposed to be. It's supposed to be enjoyable. And for the people that just want to be miserable with the world and nothing that Veve will ever do will appease or please them. Like I still have people messaging me being like, but you still can't take gems out of the app. And I'm like, okay, like, did you hear the update from the AMA yesterday that they're doing the final testing this week coming up? And then they're going to start inviting people the week after. Yeah, but you still can't do it. And I'm like, nothing is going to please you. Like they're going to release it and you're still not going to be happy. So it,
yeah. So I mean, I like the fact that they're, what they're doing. And this is not specific to them. Even Tesla, which is like a $600-700 billion company, they almost never meet their timelines, and just because you want it to be done right and you want it to be done safely, and so it happens in software. But where I was getting at before, I was talking about now I think the commons and the uncommons might be just as rare as the rare, and that's what the Omi DJ said. And like it might get a little messy having a bunch of these commons and uncommons that are rarer than that. Although I think that is the exception. I think most times it's not like that. But I mean, what it says makes sense. You have some like that secret rare of the Labbits, has as many mints as the common. So but again, it doesn't happen that often. What are your thoughts on that?
I completely agree with you, DJ. That's a great point, and it just goes back to the Peggy Carter situation where she's a rare with 6,000 mints, and Superman has 8,888 mints, and he's an uncommon. So therefore, Peggy has less mints and is more valuable, but was priced at $25. Superman was priced at $50, and now Superman's going for $900, and Peggy's going for $300. So I completely get what you're saying. It does get messy, and it's a great point. What do you think about? and I don't think that they're doing this, but I'm just curious what your thoughts would be on it. Sorry, Justin just made me laugh. He made me laugh in the chat. It's funny, man. That's funny. He's trolling someone else in the chat. I love it. Thanks, guys. What do you think about season 1 and 2 collectibles being more? And I'm not saying that I agree with this, so don't everyone freak out. But what do you think about them holding more weight for points than? So like each season that comes out, the season previous ends up being 10% more valuable. Yeah, because it's a newer season. Like, does that matter? Is that a thing, or would that be unfair?
I mean, I think that'll happen anyway. Just the rules are collecting. The first to come out are just generally going to be higher. I don't know why. But that's just what always happens. Whether it's Magic the Gathering or Pokemon or that first set that ever comes out, base set for Pokemon. It's just that's what everyone wants. Like, yeah, sure, you want to collect Jungle and Fossil, and I specialize in Gym Challenge. People have their favorite sets, but it's that first one that is always like, oh, it's the first. Because I mean, that's where most people got in. That's where most people, are nostalgic for. So I think this one will have, people will have their specific sets that they like. That maybe some little girls just love Peggy Carter because they saw the What If series, and now she's Captain Carter. Like, she's awesome in that. Yeah. But for the most part, it's probably going to be. That just reminded me of Buffy. I don't know why. I hope they have Buffy NFTs. What was your thoughts about the? They said we have like a secret NFTs from a company that you wouldn't expect to have NFTs.
That's crazy, eh? I don't know, because like any company that currently has that is based around collectibles, you would think would have NFTs. So like as an example, it's not Pokemon. Pokemon I could definitely see doing NFTs, right? Yeah. Like it's not Coca-Cola, even though they're going to have drink brands, because we've already seen Coca-Cola do NFTs. Yeah. It's probably not a vehicle company, because we already know vehicles is coming out with GM as NFTs. So it's got to be an entire category or a company that has nothing to do. Like, it has to be something that wouldn't traditionally be collected, in my opinion. And I don't know what it would be, but I did like that David said that we're going to have a lot of the fashion brands on the app. So, I mean, obviously we already know we have Givenchy, but we've seen Louis Vuitton, I think, do an NFT already. But like, it would be so like you could get like a Prada handbag, like if you wanted a handbag for the missus, or you wanted something like, so like, I think that that's going to go for a ton of money. Like eventually I think we'll see Nike digital shoes being sold as NFTs on the app. Like, there's just so many things. I really don't know. What do you think it is?
So was some that you wouldn't expect to get into? Like, I was hoping like maybe like fast food, but like, we've already had, I think Burger King and Taco Bell have NFTs. And
is McDonald's doing it confirmed? I think McDonald's is doing it as well. No,
they probably will, just because everyone else is. So it's not going to be that. David, he wore a SpaceX hat in one of his last interviews. I was like, okay, well maybe that. Excuse me. Okay, thank you. So I was thinking maybe that, but he's someone that I would kind of expect to do that at some point, Elon Musk, because he's pretty 100%. Much a nerd.
Well, and he's already into crypto, right? So like he has that association. So I can see that.
I mean, he was talking about fashion. I hope Paris Hilton gets in there, because she's very big into fashion.
She is big. She's big on NFTs right now too.
On Twitter, yeah. Yep. She's an early investor in like Ethereum. Like she's so smart. Yep. Like she's not just a pretty face.
No, and that's it. She plays a role, right? But she is very intelligent when it comes to that kind of stuff, for sure.
So I don't know, because everything, the only people I think that I wouldn't expect to have an NFT would be like maybe like newspapers, or like
that's what I was thinking. Like traditional print media end up coming out as an NFT. Could it be like maybe like newspaper moments from like the New York Times, like a big like event or catalyst? Like, I have absolutely no idea, but I really truly believe like we could come up with any idea. And like Veve thought of it 3 years ago, and that's the great thing about this company, is that they're just like,
they're so ahead.
Yeah.
So ahead of the time. Atomic 06 has appliance company like Whirlpool, like the refrigerator, or maybe Friedrich, like the air conditioning company. Not that I would know anything about air conditioners, but
I don't know that would be coveted enough that everyone like the way that he said it made it sound like, hey, you wouldn't think they would do it, but you're all going to want it. Like, It's a cute idea, Atomic, but I don't know that I'm like, yes, I can finally have my whirlpool dishwasher in the Veveverse.
Yeah,
I did it.
like
I made it, Ma.
Like there could be things that I wouldn't expect, like because they haven't mentioned anything about Nickelodeon. Like they've mentioned a bunch of other stuff, but because I would want like Fairly Odd Parents NFTs, Avatar: The Last Airbender, all that jazz, or I don't know. I mean,
Could it have something to do with science? Could it be like you own, like as an example, you know how you can own a star?
Yeah.
You can like purchase a star. Like, could it be that? Like that type of concept? Like you're buying, like, I don't know. That's a weird idea, actually.
I mean, I could kind of see that because you can pay like for the certificate and say hey, you own this star,
or like I can like buy a piece of land in like the UK and I could be like a lord or whatever. Like
because they do military NFTs, that would be fantastic. Like you can get a bunch of these warplanes. You get F-16, you could get C-17.
Yeah. Actually, so someone in the chat just mentioned that. They said an NFT of someone you would never expect, an NFT, the U.S. military. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Oh, if they give a Randy Chavez Air Force NFT, I'm so in.
That'd be sick. That'd be sick. Yeah. Honestly, like it's going to come down to whatever it is. It's going to be awesome. And I love that David said, like, stay tuned for the next month, guys. We have a ton of announcements of licenses that are coming out and you're just not going to see it coming. Like it just feels like every month I'm like, we get to a new month and I'm like, there's no way that they can outdo the month before. And every month they just do it. It's crazy.
Insane.
It's absolutely crazy.
Do you think that, I think eventually maybe this might be what the Master Collectors program would be, is having a rubric saying like, oh, hey, this, if it's a rare, it's worth this much, a common's worth this much, or, if it has below this number, it might get a little confusing. So I think a rubric would definitely help.
Yeah. And would that be just to, helping the community? Yeah. So it's not for points for Master Collector or anything. It's just to assist the community when it comes to listing a collectible. I think Hello K does a good job of that when he does his wrap ups on his videos nightly, and he'll be like, hey, this collectible is coming out tomorrow based on the amount of editions and the rarity. I expect, this price for this price for this, or whatever. So I feel like we already do have people in the community that have kind of that background understanding of like market caps when it comes to collectibles, but I'm still lost. Like I still watch those videos going like, hey, how much could this be worth? And then I still go out and sell collectibles for way less than what they're supposed to be worth. So no, I think that's a great idea, Rayfax.
Yeah. Content creator statues. I don't know if he means in the Veveverse or as an NFT. That'd be pretty fun. We talked about that in Earth 2 as well, like creating hollow buildings in the shape of some of the creator statues. I mean, we have NFTs in Earth 2 as well for that. You should really check that out.
I don't think I'm going to be on the Mount Rushmore of content creators, but even the thought is it is cool. Yeah. I mean, I would feel pretty pompous owning a like digital statue of myself in the Veveverse personally. But hey, if someone else wanted to buy it and I benefited off of it, I wouldn't complain. So
I think like there's a couple NFL players that made jokes about that. It's like, oh, I'm playing as myself in Madden. It's like, oh, I would have caught that. That's
But see, that would be cool. Like if I could have an avatar of myself in the Veveverse, like if I could make myself as an avatar in the Veveverse, that would be cool. But I wouldn't want it to be like people come to this historic site. It's just my face on a wall. Like it's like
if I was just like a troll, I would have like 2 accounts and I would put like me and another content creator in like a funny, awkward, like maybe very inappropriate position. And I would just have like, something like that. Like, oh, that's not cool.
See, and that's why they're not going to give you creative control because they know you're a troublemaker. They know.
So now that we have let's get to some fun stuff. Right. Now that we have a bunch of more information on the Master Collector program, somebody up there mentioned, and I don't know exactly what mine would be. You have an updated price prediction for OMI end of year when we get to $1. What's going on that pretty little head of yours?
So here's what I'll say. Until the actual article comes out for the OMI utility program and knowing what the rewards are, it's impossible to know how many people are going to stake OMI and how much OMI will need to be staked in order to earn rewards. So, if I could run the numbers and be like, hey, it's likely that X amount of people will stake X amount of OMI, it would be easier to give a price prediction. Assuming that they stay on, here's what I'll say for now. Assuming that they stay on their timelines of the migration to immutable, we get one or two major exchange listings like early November, like right after the migration is complete. We see like a bunch of artists and even maybe some of the major brands come out and say, yes, we're interoperable and you can list our items on, Binance, OpenSea. We know Coinbase is coming out with an NFT space. If we see all of that, I could easily see 3 to 7 cents just based on those factors. We're sitting high sixes right now, 7. So for us to get to 3 cents, we would have to 5x where we're at. So we'd have to be at about an $8 billion market cap, which I think is very reasonable when you consider that staking will take tokens out of the circulating supply. The additional money that will flow into the space due to the liquidity of being on bigger exchanges and the exposure that will be granted. I could definitely see that. No problem. I think external catalysts will also play a part. I know we were talking about this off stream, and for those of you in the chat or who are listening to this back afterwards, do not know. It's looking like the Bitcoin ETF is going through. Yes. Yeah. So I think that will give widespread exposure, to cryptocurrency through Bitcoin. You will have even more institutional investing and retail investing that is already taking place. It will extend the bull run that we're currently in. And with the hype surrounding NFTs in the space, it will trickle that money down into those. And I do very much see, assuming that Veve can keep up the momentum that they have right now. And like I said, with the token being an ERC20 and being able to be staked and more people wanting to buy it, I think 3 to 7 cents is a relatively conservative estimate, assuming that they can stay on track. Because after we hit over our all-time highs, price discovery, in my opinion, is going to look very similar to how it looked back in the end of March when we went from like 0.002 to 0.013 in like 5 days. I think we'll go from like 0.013 up to like 4 or 5 cents in like just a few days, because there's nothing to gauge it off of. There's no TA, there's no whatever. So I think it'll jump up. I do think there will be a correction, but I could see us, hitting at least 4 to 5 cents by the end of the year. Will we hold over it? Well, that depends what Veve and Ecomi bring into place to make sure that people, are wanting. So on the OMI topic, I think they mentioned 3 levels for
the tiers
tiers
staking, right?
Yeah. Do you think that, so like as an example, so for those of you that don't know, I own 14 million OMI tokens, and Randy is at 109 now.
111 right now.
Oh my God, when did that happen? Oh my God. I don't pay attention to you for 2 hours and you, oh my God.
Yeah, I sold my Pokemon box and it was like 20 grand. It's like, okay, well, here's like another million and then a half. I got like I was like 109.3, then 109 something like that. Okay. And then so yeah, 111 now. And I'm gonna hope to get like maybe 111.5 like next week. Going to Atlantic City this weekend, and I count cards for those that don't know, and I'm gonna take a calculated risk, and I'm gonna try to turn a little bit of money into a lot of money. See what happens.
Nice.
So yeah, you were saying?
No, so I'm just curious. So like based on the amount of OMI that we own, I 14, you 111. Like, where do and I mean, there's people that own 100,000 OMI. There's people that own less than 100,000 OMI. Like, where do the levels, like, what in your mind incentivizes based on this 3-tier system? Like, it's not like tier 1 is going to be 100,000, tier 2 is going to be 1 million, and tier 3 is going to be 100 million. Like where do they come up with these numbers? It can't be based on percentages because they don't know how many OMI tokens you own. So how do they decide that? Because if you only, hypothetically, you're just an investor. Now you've come out publicly and said that you would invest or would stake a lot more OMI if the reward was right. But let's say hypothetically you knew you only needed to stake 10 million OMI to hit max tier, max reward. Well, then it kind of discourages anyone that actually, like, really what you want is that you want the whales to lock up their liquidity. I'm not worried about the guys that have 50,000 OMI locking up their liquidity. That doesn't do anything for me. I need people that have 300 million OMI, 500 million OMI, a couple billion OMI to lock up half of that, because that's where we're going to see these big shifts. So like, what are your thoughts on that?
So I think that there's a couple ways to go about it. One tier might be however much you stake, and it might be capped at 10 million, 50 million, whatever. And as long as you always have that being staking, you'll always receive those benefits. The other thing is how long you stake for. Are you going to be able to stake for a month, 3 months, or lock it up for a year or more? Because that can also be, if you only have, let's say, like 10 million and you lock up, or let's say if you have 14 million and you lock up 10 million for 18 months.
Yep.
And then what happens if, let's say you need it for something, or, you want to pay an OMI, and you have to really, really scrimp and save that 4 million OMI, some for profit, some for, drop, some for Veveverse. And then suddenly, it's only been 3 months. I only have 2 million OMI left. What do I do? So I think it might be that time-wise, that might be another tier. And then the other thing would be a combination of both in conjunction with how many drops, because you should be able to stake OMI. I know you're going to be able to wager OMI, and there might be a thing saying okay, not only do you have to wager, but you're going to have to stake the amount that you're wagering also for each drop. And if you have I'm actually staking 10 pieces of OMI because, over the last, couple weeks, because there were 10 drops, that might put you in another tier as well. Again, these are just kind of, my thoughts about it.
That reminds me, because that's a really good point. Dan brought up something interesting when he was discussing the OMI utility program. And it's just coming back to me now. He said something to the effect of, you will need to stake OMI to use the OMI related functions in the app. So I don't know if that meant that you also need to stake OMI to use OMI to NFT. I don't think they'd do that, because that'd be a barrier and people wouldn't want to stake OMI if they just want to buy it. But he did say something about for land. He said one of the things is if you're staking OMI, you will get, he didn't come out and outright just say you'll get early access to land if you stake OMI, but he said something he said as an example for land. And so I think, like you said, I wonder if they're going to, yes, you can burn OMI by buying NFTs or by buying land or by buying non-specific IP, but maybe staking OMI will give you, for let's say 12 months, just a random number, will give you early access to land, maybe not better land, maybe it's done in blind box format, but it gives you first dibs. So you stake your OMI, but then you also have to use OMI to buy the land, and the OMI that you use is burned from circulation or something like that.
Yeah, the burning from circulation is going to be huge. That's probably good. Yeah, it's probably good. That's probably a good idea. I'd go along with that. I'd be fine if they did that, burning or staking OMI for land, because again, I have OMI to stake. So it doesn't give people with more money advantages. Yeah, but again, that rising tide raises all ships. You want them to stake OMI. You want them to burn that. So yeah, I'm happy with that. Before we get to that next super chat, Mike has a good point. Say McDonald's. Imagine if you get a free NFT with a Happy Meal and kids have to download the Veve app. Similar to how Walmart, sometimes they have a, they price things very, very cheaply. And sometimes they'll actually take a loss on one item in hopes that you'll shop around and get more items. So I think that's something that they could definitely be doing as well.
I think that they will. And David also mentioned that they're going to do, obviously they have the collectibles that have the rarity with the edition numbers, but he also said they will be looking when the Veveverse comes out and rolls out and whatever. When I was speaking to him on the AMA last night, he was saying, yeah, we're also going to be releasing collectibles and things of that aren't limited to the amount. So everyone can own it if they want it or whatever. So I do think that they will, like you said, do partnerships and brand deals with places like McDonald's or other big corporations that maybe no one's really making any money, but you get this collectible and then, okay, well now I want, the next collectible. And it's just a way, it's marketing. You're bridging people into the system by doing that. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, same. To react to Atomic 06 says hey, can you guys not brush off the timelines, or am I speaking too loudly? Is the baby napping?
No, you're good. No, my dogs are down here and I'm always worried he's going to pee on the carpet.
Okay, gotcha. That's the thing. Says we love you. We need to hold them to a high standard. I am coming from a little bit of a different. Well, no, it's the same world, and I've been here before. The same way where why I didn't freak out, when I bought a 0.007 and we go down to 0.002, 0.001. A lot of paper handlers just getting out because they see their investments going down. I come from a world where that happened to me already in 2020, where I lost a lot of money when a bunch of the business owners that I gave money to couldn't work, and they couldn't pay me back. So in that same breath, I'm coming from as a Tesla investor, where they're not just missing their deadlines by weeks or months, they're missing their deadlines by years. And I am. So do I wish everything went correctly, and do I wish that Ecomi would have gone on and said, hey, we're instead of saying like, oh, Veveverse in December, maybe they should have just said Veveverse at some point in the next year. That probably would have been better to say. And so at Thomas 06, I think you're right in the fact that maybe they could have a little more wiggle room. But for the team what they're doing and the team that they have, the small team that they have, it's nothing short of miraculous for me. So that's why I do give them a little leeway. Should we be a little bit harder on it? I don't know. Should we be harder on them? What do you think?
Great question, Tomic. I pick my battles. And when I say that, it doesn't mean that I'm not willing to go to bat for the community or go against the team. Like I don't know if you know this about me, but I wasn't the most popular content creator in the community when I first came out. I didn't have very popular or opinions that other people shared, and I had no problem sharing them because it was my investment and I felt a certain way about it and I spoke on it. There are several times that I've come out on socials or even on streams and made statements to the effect of, I'm fine with X, but if Y happens, you're going to hear about it. So I completely agree with you. The timelines that they provide, and self-admittedly, they suck at it. And I will say that publicly. They suck at giving timelines.
The pitchforks are getting up right now.
But at the same time, there is a difference between a delay for, factors outside of their control, or because they want to improve on something that already exists, or because something else comes along that needs to be prioritized for quality of life or whatever the case may be, versus saying that you're going to do something and just simply not doing it. So I'm not thrilled about the fact that we were supposed to get an exchange in May and then it got delayed by 4 months. And I made that publicly known. I wasn't happy about it, but is me complaining about it and saying, oh, this sucks. Like they wanted to do it and it couldn't happen for one reason or another. It's no one's fault necessarily. It sucks, but it is what it is. I wanted the migration to Immutable to happen a month ago and it didn't. It sucks that it got delayed or that issues ran into it, but I can't change it, right? So where I start to speak up and take issue is issues that the community feels are important that don't feel as though are being appropriately addressed by the team. So as a perfect example, I released a very bullish video on the catalysts that were coming up with Omi and Veve the other day on my channel. And the very next day, I put out a video talking about bots and how I felt that they were an issue and how they needed to be addressed and what my stance was on them. And the bullish video that I put out has 4,200 views. Nice. The bots video that I put out has 600 views because no one cares.
Wants to hear it.
No one wants to hear it, right? But I'm also not afraid to say it. And I knew while I was recording the video that it wasn't going to do very well, but I still put the same amount of effort into it for all the videos that I do, because a dissenting voice is still a voice that needs to be heard, even if it's not the voice that everyone shares. And I agree with you. And I don't take this platform for granted, which is why when anyone messages me on Twitter or reaches out to me on YouTube or whatever the case may be, I will respond to you and I will give you my thoughts and my feelings. As long as you're just not outwardly being a jerk for no reason, I'll have the conversation with you. I don't care who you are, whether you're famous or not famous. It doesn't matter to me. What I care about is the success of this project. So when I see things that the team is doing that could be done better, and I did it in the AMA last night, I said, hey, Dan, you did a great job of addressing the bots concern, but I still have concerns about people who feel as though their devices aren't as powerful or aren't as new. What are we doing to work on this? And that conversation had to happen in front of 2,000 people. I'm not afraid to call the team out.
What did he answer that?
So Dan answered as well as Trevor answered, and so essentially they're exploring different solutions in order to solve the issue. So one of them is going to be the work in with the master collector program, and the logic behind it is that people that aren't bots are going to be the ones collecting. So they're going to be earning the points. So they're going to receive some form of priority in a sense when they're going towards drops through that. And then they're also looking at explore other avenues and options in order to ensure that it's not happening. KYC was on the table. So there was a bunch of good points. But once again, it's a great question and I'm not afraid to answer it. But just remember that just because we're not out here going, oh my God, this is unfair, the team's not doing this, what's going, like, Randy and I understand that, this is a long-term investment and that we're still incredibly early and that there are going to be bumps along the road. So instead of just throwing out a bunch of negative energy, we recognize the topic, we speak on it, but we also try and, speak to the community and come up with solutions to the problem rather than just saying, well, this sucks and there's nothing that can be done about it. There's always something that can be done. We just need to work together to do it.
Yeah, no, agreed. And I would also think that in the next, well, I mean, this is a large way away, a long ways away. But as internet gets better for the rest of the world, I mean, that would kind of solve itself. But again, that's probably a long way away as well. Imagine if we have a couple of Elon Musk tweets that take us up to 60 cents. And what celebrity would you be most excited, I guess, outside of Elon Musk, who has like 40 million followers, to get on and be like, oh, hey, like, would it be like a rapper or would it be like
related? So I think for different reasons, one would be successful over the other. So like, I think who would spend the most money though? Like Logan Paul has a big audience, but are his 14-year-old fans going to be
That's true
jumping on the app to invest? So like, it'd be great to see Logan Paul put out a big thing about Veve, but I don't know that a bunch of people are going to come out and be big on it. I think that, oh God, that's a good question. Who would you want? Well, I think about it.
I would want someone like, I guess what Galt says, a lot of Veve customers are older. They're not in their early 20s or late teens. They are people with disposable income. So I would like to see, I don't know. I would like to see maybe like a rock and roll band come in and be like, guys, this is awesome. And that might get a little bit of the older people on board. I don't know who it would be. Maybe if just Mick Jagger comes in, just like, hey guys.
Okay. Can I take your question and modify it a bit then? Does it have to be a person on their own, or can it be like a CEO of a company?
It could be a group. It could be an organization.
Okay. I think if Apple was to, so we know that they're coming out with their glasses. So if we landed a partnership with Apple, and who is the CEO nowadays of Apple? I never keep up with these things. I don't know. It was Steve Jobs, but obviously he's not anymore. He passed away, and then That's
been years. We'll see.
Is it Wozniak or whatever? No, he was. I don't even know who the CEO is anymore.
Tim Cook.
Tim Cook, of course. Yeah. Thank you. So if Tim Cook came out and said, "Hey, download the Veve app," it is now a legacy app on all iPhone products that we release.
What are legacy apps?
So legacy apps are like the apps that they install for you on your app. So like, how when you get like an Apple phone, it's like Maps is automatically installed and like different apps related to Apple. Could you imagine if Veve was automatically installed on every iPhone in the world? Like that would be, and they were compatible with their glasses, with their MacBooks, with their whatever. Like that would be crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. So something like that. Yeah, I guess Apple, because Google. So it's already on Apple and Google's phone. So I mean, we already have kind of our foot in the door with both.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm pretty happy as well.
Yeah.
How much OMI do you plan to stake?
I mean, I will stake as like, it depends what the rewards are, right? Like if the rewards literally nothing for me, I know it sounds selfish, but like I'm probably not staking really any of it, because what's the point at that point? I'd rather other people stake it so that I can hold on to it, so that when the price goes up, I can sell it, right? Like that's the selfish. Like that's just me being honest to everyone, right? Like I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like I'm a prince.
I guess that's a fear of mine too. Like
But that's my biggest fear, right? Like if there's no, and I told my wife this yesterday, I said, well, it was being announced. She actually took a video, and I may release it as a short on my YouTube video.
Cool.
There's just me in the background, and I'm listening to the AMA, and as Dan's talking about those two topics, I'm freaking out. I'm sitting at the dining room table and I'm freaking out. But I talked to her afterwards and I said, we're either going to the heckin' moon with this staking program, or we're going to the dumps. Like to me, there's no in between, right? Like
Really?
if this staking program is, for lack of a better word, poop, like if it's not good, like that's one of the major forms of utility that is going to lock up the most significant amount of tokens, right? Like people think that buybacks, like, oh my God, they're not doing buybacks. Like buybacks would make us hit $1. Like, no, buybacks would not make us hit $1. Buybacks are a very small percentage that do play a role, but staking, like if we staked, and this is what people need to understand, like overnight, people could stake 50% of the circulating supply of the OMI tokens for rewards, and we would literally go to the moon. Like literally, like no exaggeration.
A lot. Well, I mean, like,
so Cardano has 70. Hex
70?
has like 90% of their token stake. Like this.
Really?
Oh yeah, man, it's crazy. There's a ton of companies that have, or a ton of projects that have a ton of their tokens staked in liquidity.
I know that's why Hex went up a lot, and then we have a very similar. You did a video on that, right?
Yeah, I did, but it depends on the utility, right? Like if the staking is the primary form of utility and it actually gives you dope rewards, then people are going to do it. But once again, and I'm not saying that this is all the case, but if the only reward that you get for staking the OMI token is, okay, now you get priority access, but you have to stake your tokens and then burn a percentage of them or wager a percentage of them to get early access to drops. Usually people stake their tokens to earn value. I'm not going to stake my tokens so that I can then burn them to decrease the amount of tokens that I have. Like I can do that just in OMI to NFT, right? So like, I'm not saying that that's like, I'm sure that the program's gonna be dope. Like, I mean, let's be honest, like it's Ecomi, right? So I'm sure it'll be great, but that is my only thing, that if it's not great, everyone's gonna be like, well, then why am I doing this? So I don't know. What are your thoughts? Like, do you think that like, regardless of what the program is, like if the program is literally just, hey, you get to go in and you get early access, but you have to burn your tokens to go early on drops, are you staking 100 million OMI?
Well, it depends. Like if the perks are like, okay, I'll still stake a little bit, like what's their name said in Avengers Infinity Wars, like, we have blood to spare. Like I have some OMI to spare.
Yeah.
But it also, I would not mind burning some of my tokens. Like I'd say, let's say I stake like 1 million or however much, and say, okay, now that you're staking 1 million, you have to burn, let's say like a couple $100 worth of OMI in order to guaranteed get this collectible. Like I said, I would do that if I knew that collectible would go from $90 to $1,000, because then I save. So I still would do that. But I wouldn't do that if it's like something that's already got like 5,000 min, says like, all right, well, this is not going to go up. It's not going to be worth it.
Yeah. And that's my only thing. But once again, guys, I'm sure that this is a moot point. Like, I'm sure that it's going to be awesome. But once again, this is the realism. This is the other side, right? Like, if you guys are just here to hear both of us say, OMI's going to $1 tomorrow, and you buckle, like, I'm just not going to do that, right? Like, once I see the program, if OMI is going to go to $1 tomorrow, I will tell you OMI's going to $1 tomorrow. And that's just the case. But yeah, like regardless, I'll probably stake some of my OMI, because I imagine that the reward for staking the OMI will always outweigh the cost, because otherwise, why would you create the program, right? Yeah. I just hope that it's like dope, right? Like I hope that the rewards are nuts, because I don't think in this instance that they are rewarding you with OMI tokens for staking OMI. We understand that it's deflationary currency that could classify it as a security, and you're adding negative sell pressure because you're rewarding people with tokens that they're going to end up turning around and selling. So I don't see them doing that. But Dan said something about like access to specific drops, being able to buy land and things like that. So I'm sure that there will be more than enough to encourage people to lock up their liquidity. And as I've seen a lot of people mentioning in the chat, yes, it will raise the price quite drastically. I don't know that it's going to raise it to $1 by the end of this year, but I also wouldn't complain. So.
I guess the issue is next year, when we have the Veve verse, and next year, let's say the large amount of staking happens, And let's say we're at like 15, and we're to like 10 and 15 cents, by April, spring of next year, maybe summer. And then it's like, oh, by the way, staking, and you have really epic rewards. And I stake, let's say, like 25 million, even 50 million in Wyoming, because I get that, I get guaranteed land. Okay, cool. If that goes to $1, like immediately, out of the 50 million OMI I have left, at that point I would sell 25 million, because that's heckin' 25 million. One, I'm 100 millionaire at that point, which is heckin' ridiculous. But I would sell 25 million, and I don't even know if I would. I would definitely spend a lot in the Veveverse. I would spend so much money. But because again, at $1, how high are we going to go? How much higher are we going to go?
And well, I mean, we could say that about anything, right? So because OMI is a deflationary currency, so like normally for traditional investing, I would agree with you, right? Like market cap gets to a point, and I've brought that example up with Apple, who has like a $2.5 trillion market cap. I'm like, why would you invest in Apple, which needs to go to, if they 10x, it's got to go to like a $25 billion market cap, or $1 trillion market cap, sorry. Versus you invest in OMI, for it to 10x, it needs to go up to 10 billion, which is far more realistic because that much amount of money can enter the space quite quickly. So I completely agree with you. But because the token is deflationary, even if we hit $1, like you have to remember, and I mean, this is a far out example. But if there's only 10 billion OMI in circulation, you only need a $10 billion market cap to hit $1, right? So like if you think in 10 years OMI can hit $100 billion market cap, well, then if there's 10 billion tokens in circulation at that point, then then it's worth $10 per token. So it really just depends. Like, and I see Champ in the chat, shout out. Like he does great TA. His videos are awesome when it comes to that kind of stuff. He looks at those types of numbers and stuff. Like I'm not a numbers guy in that regard from the TA analysis, but I could tell you, hey, this amount is getting locked up in liquidity and this much is getting burnt. And likely this is how much we're going to have left after all that is said and done. But like you said, by the point that OMI reaches $1, which I think is a lot of people's end goal for the most part, there will be other projects that will be more desirable to 10x for what OMI would have to do in order to hit $10, if that makes sense, right? Or even a 2x. Like for OMI to go to $2, it would have to double its market cap, whereas you can invest in something else that would maybe, safely 10x in that same period of time. So at that point, that's when you likely look at diversifying.
And also I said I would not sell it all. I would sell half of what I had left, because 50 million is being staked. Out of the 50 million I had left, I would sell half. And then the other one I would use for the Veveverse, I would use for land. I would hodl. So I'm still hodling 70+ million OMI at that point. So it's I guess maybe I'd have to sell a little bit for taxes the next year, because I'd have to pay like my god, I'd have to pay like $10 million. Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's gonna kill me.
You know what I was thinking about for you, and you don't have to comment on this publicly if you don't want to, but I've heard in the US you can set up a charitable remainder trust. I don't know if you ever heard of it.
Yeah.
But like it's like you can put aside that money and then it gets donated to charities when you die, which is for your philanthropic causes, is what you wanted to do regardless. But you get like tax write-offs for it, and then you can get paid dividends off of that investment for the time that you're alive. And then when you pass away, your estate passes on that investment to whatever cause. So then you wouldn't have to pay really any taxes on it. Like it would almost offset it entirely.
I mean, that's a good point. I also, there's some things like, well, if I live for another 30 years, then maybe some of the stuff that I want to do, like maybe those endangered animals are dead at that point. That's a long time, especially for some animals. So I was like, okay, well, but a lot of it will go to, I will probably set up a charity at some point in the future as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll probably do that.
Griffin.
Oh, you have puppies.
Oh yeah, the attack dogs are out.
Oh, did you read what Decentraland did yesterday?
No, what did they do?
Okay, so they announced, let me find the text. They booked a bunch of artists for one of their shows. It was on CoinDesk. They booked Deadmau5, Paris Hilton, and a bunch of other people for their virtual show in Decentraland. And I was like, listen, this is just exactly what Veve is going to do. This is exactly what's going to happen. It's going to be better. And again, especially because Paris Hilton follows Ecomi and Veve. But Nesbitt, I don't know who that is, but Nesbitt's gonna be there as well. So this is already happening. Like it's not just like, oh, we're gonna be the first. Like this is already happening. We're just probably gonna do it better. So I'm
100%. And it's going to be amazing once we start to receive endorsements from celebrities or social media influencers who are coming into the space and participating in these events, or who even maybe aren't participating, but just collect the items. So as a perfect example, like Snoop Dogg partnered up with Sandbox and he's doing like a thing with them. Like you said, Decentraland's doing this thing. So like eventually what will happen is, like you said, we'll have the Logan Pauls or whatever doing it. Speaking of social media influencers being involved in the community, Andre Jick is back.
Yeah, he's good. He said he's gonna do another video. Can't wait.
I can't wait either. It's gonna be awesome to get that exposure out again to the community. And I mean, obviously he has a lot of influence. I think he has over 1.7 million subs on socials. So I mean, he's gonna, and the fact that he's collecting the collectibles as well, because before he was just, from my understanding anyways, was just invested, right? So now that he's I think he picked up a Todd or whatever and he posted that on Instagram. So and the price of it shot up. Yeah, and then it pumped up $500 the second he did that, and then it dropped back down. But it's crazy. Like the people that we're going to see. Yeah, not fungible, wonderful. That's what I'm saying, brother. And you've made some videos on it too. Shout out to you.
Yeah,
you're the one that had that original idea. Yeah,
got me pumped. Like, nice. So what do you know about breeding? Where they put the they were talking about Labbits breeding.
Oh, I thought you were coming on to me for a second. Okay, continue.
Because they mentioned Labbits, and I think it would be interesting. Because it said about burning collectibles. Wouldn't it be just like, oh, hey, if they have 100,000, Charmander or whatever, and in Pokemon you can breed, let's say like a Scyther, with the Beedrill, and it'll be the baby Pokemon will come out a male version of what the mom is, and it'll know the dad's moves. So what would you? I don't know if you've ever bred in Pokemon or Fire Emblem or anything like that.
So definitely played a lot of Pokemon. It's been a while, so I can't remember the ins and outs of it specifically, but no, I mean, even recently, I think Frank Kozik came out and said that he was, very open and if anything, excited to see his Labbits eventually become breedable in the VVverse. So we know that integration is possible with ERC 1155, which allows you to modify current NFTs. So like, as an example, Superman, if you wanted to put a gold cape on him, it would be reminted as that collectible and it would become more unique and scarce in that regard. So as they start to add in these different types of customizations, we'll be able to do that. And I think breeding will be one of the things that we do see that come to the platform, regardless of what license or brand it's under. I think Pokemon is the obvious one, but like you said, there's a ton of others that we could see doing it as well. And it would just add one more level of gamification and engagement to the app. And
yeah, I would burn so much Omi if they said, "Hey, burn this amount of Omi, you get to breed your Pokemon." That actually does worry me, because I'll just spend all my Omi, and
it's straight YOLO. I know you, man. You'll just go all in on it, and I mean, hey, it's Pokemon. It'll be worth something, right? So
Atomic06 says they missed the market, and there's an explanation why they missed the Master Collectors Program article. Same with Omi Utility article, is because that they had. At the same time they were about to release this, they had a bot issue that everyone was talking about, and we brought it to their attention. They had somebody with like 8 computers, and they all had bots on them. So what they're doing is they're doing really well, and they're suspending I don't know how many or freezing how many accounts each day that are meant to have bots. But unfortunately, some innocent people like David Rosen's mom and a couple of other people they're just stuck. Like they're caught in the crossfire. And it wouldn't really be fair to some of these people that haven't done anything wrong to release that Master Collector Program article where they can't buy in the secondary market. So that's why they were doing that. That's just my thing. Spend most of my boss's time on BB.
I'll be 30 seconds. Keep doing your thing.
Oh yes, of course. So outside of that, be advised, guys. I'll start to sell at $1. I won't like dump my whole thing at that point. And even when I do sell that 25 million, it won't be a $25 million sell all at once. Like, okay, I'll do $1 million this day. That would take me like a month or so. Give or take. And if it goes up to $2, okay, I'll keep doing. But yeah, that does kind of worry me. I'll feel stupid if suddenly I do that and we're in, let's say, the top 20, and the top 20 altcoins. And institutional investing, I feel like, really only looks at the top 10. And then let's say I do that, I sell 25 million worth, we get into the top 10 and suddenly goes from $1 to $3. Like, oh man, I fudged up. So that's why, yeah.
You want me to blow your mind because you're talking about top 20?
Yes, yes.
The 20th highest token right now on coin market cap by market cap is Polygon. It has a $10 billion market cap.
Oh, we'll be top 20 so soon.
That's it. And so, and like you say, institutional investing only looks at the top 10. Dogecoin is in 10th at 30 billion. And then the 11th is 15 billion. So there's a gap between 30 and 15.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot closer after that. So like to get into the top 10, you need double the 11th. But like even 11th is $15 billion right now, Uniswap. Like to me, in 6 months, max, we will be at that market cap. So, and then like you said, is that will bring in the institutional investors, and it's going to be only up from there, I think. So
yeah, I think we'll have to stake in the Veve app.
Yeah.
Is that
yeah? So there'll be layer 1 and layer 2. Layer 1 is the actual tokens that are exchangeable, like on exchanges and stuff. And then there's the layer 2. Layer 2, if you only have layer 2 will work on the Veve app, and the layer 2 token is what you will be able to stake directly on your device for whatever rewards that they have there. And then that will likely show you, the amount of time that you have to stake it and what rewards you will get. And then I would imagine that when the web OS comes out, which they said should be by the end of this year, although I would imagine, or at least I would hope, that they're going to be rolling out the staking and master collector before the end of this year. You should be able to do it, even more seamlessly on there afterwards. So,
yeah. Okay, so that'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Somebody else brought up a comment of saying that this, as long as we have a consistent player basis and people consistently spend, and you have people in the subscriptions, yeah, it'll just, the amount will go down, and the cost of that will go up because there'll be less of them. So
yeah, well, I think even Henry Pagliuca said that on your stream a few weeks back, right? Like even if the user base of what we currently have did not grow any further, as long as people continue to spend money on the app, the token will continue to deflate. And if anything, the price being lower now is better later, because the more tokens that we can burn, the better. And you have to remember that all the burns that we do right now, especially because buybacks aren't happening, all of the burns are coming from an out of circulation wallet and moving to the burn wallet. So like, yeah, it's great that we're burning tokens from the reserve wallet, but it doesn't help the bottom line of what the tokens are actually worth. The only thing that will help do that currently that's in place that exists is buybacks, and those aren't happening currently. So what will happen once you see OMI to NFT come in, OMI to land, and staking, all of those will directly remove or burn tokens from the circulating supply. And that is when you are going to see a relative, but a drastic increase in price.
My favorite, I think, will be mini games that we're going to have, because they did say light gamification. And I don't know if you remember the game Grab Bag from Mario Party, where you each have Mario Party, you each have how many coins, and the bigger your bag, the slower you are.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But you want to go and attack someone with the big bag because they have all the coins. So it would be really interesting to see that, oh, hey, we're going to play, $1 a round, and, $1 worth of OMI, and you grab the bag, and you can, and it's a simple game that's really fun, and you're not really going to lose that much OMI. I don't know if that would be considered gambling or not. But
here's the thing. If you were using OMI, it would probably be considered gambling. But if they made you use OMI and you converted that OMI into a token that can only be used in the Viviverse, that has no monetary value,
then
you could do it.
maybe like gems or something,
like
or like
gems, but like a different gem, because I don't think you can go Omi direct to gem, but it would be like how
the Veve
Fortnite has
token.
V-Bucks or whatever, or COD has COD points. You could convert them to those, and then you could gamble or earn those, and then
so
they would take a percentage and burn it or whatever.
Yeah.
And then if you won or lost and still had some balance off, you can convert it back into Omi.
Yeah. Oh god, that would be, yeah, that's a nice loophole around it. Again, the video game, like, I have nothing but time. Is that your pupper?
Yeah, it is.
Oh my god. Hi, you sweet baby.
This is Finn.
The face. The face.
He's a little Pomeranian.
I love Poms.
He's a little troublemaker. He actually has unfortunately he has issues with seizures.
Oh,
he tried to jump over a gate when he was really young and fell on his head, and now we have to give him medicine every day and stuff. So sometimes he gets a little, like, he has like full episodes every couple of months, but sometimes he gets a little like shaky and wide-eyed. So he's just a little flustered right now. So I may just hold him for a little bit, but we're good.
That's good. That's fine.
Yeah.
I can't wait to move in with a girlfriend. She's got this dog. It's so chill. Dog's coming with me to Atlantic City this weekend. I mean, so is a girlfriend, but you know.
They say dog is man's best friend for a reason.
Yeah, she's just a chill dog. It's just so good. Just lays, cuddles. It's great.
Nice.
What are you gonna get more dog? Like, what are you gonna do? Like, well, you know, when Omi hits the moon, you have like $10 million. Like, oh wow.
So my biggest thing, because you always look at people that win the lottery and then they go broke 3 years later. You know what I mean? Because they just spend it because they don't know how to do it. So the very first thing that I do when Omi is worth a bunch of money, before I sell or do anything, I'm going to go to a financial advisor. And I would recommend anyone do that, because anyone that's on YouTube that just tells you Omi's going to the moon and then doesn't tell you what to do afterwards, like, talk to someone, right? So like, I'm going to talk to a financial advisor. I'm going to say, listen, I have this amount of money. What makes sense? Does it make sense to sell all of it right now? Does it make sense to sell it in chunks? If we do sell it, am I better to sell it to a specific thing, reinvest it, whatever? For my purposes, I want to make sure that I have enough money put aside so that my daughter's education is paid for, and any other children that I end up happening, that their education is paid for, that they have a down payment for any houses that they will eventually buy when they're older. And I'd also like to diversify and invest in real estate so that they may not even need to buy a house. I can just buy them a house now, have other people rent it out and live in it. And then by the time they're old enough, the house will be pretty much almost paid off. And then I can gift that to them and have that be that opportunity. And then beyond that, I mean, you're not going to see me driving around in a Lamborghini or anything crazy like that.
Lambo?
No Lambo. And my buddy always says, he says, when Lambo? He's like, you'll have enough money to buy a Lambo. And I said, yeah, but like, it's funny. You know what? I've always been the guy that just spend money on dumb stuff. And ever since I started investing in Veve and Ecomi, it's like, hey, I could spend $150 to do this. Oh, but I could also buy an NFT for that much. And then it's crazy. And we were talking yesterday privately, and I was telling you, like, hey, like, I didn't get Ito on the drop. Should I buy it? And we were having the conversation, and I only lasted about 5 minutes. And I was like, okay, yeah, I spent $1,000, buddy. Like, it's just like, for me, it's all about investing for my future. And so, yeah, I may not have a ton of disposable income right now, but I'm comfortable. I can still pay the bills. And yeah, I think afterwards we'll probably move to a bigger house. I've always wanted a golf simulator in my house. That's always been a dream of mine. And I wanted to get one in this house, but the ceilings are only 8 feet high in the basement, and you need a minimum of 9.5 foot clearance for a golf swing. So that'll be my thing. And just have a house that, you know, do whatever. But yeah, I won't be. I will retire, but I won't retire to you know, just sit on my butt. I'm gonna look to travel. You know, I'm gonna look to travel a lot, man. Like, I've always enjoyed traveling the world, and, you know, go out and meet the Omi fam wherever they may be. And I've had invitations from a couple of people, and shout out to them, you know who you are, to come visit, you know, them in different countries in Europe, and obviously you guys down in the States and stuff. So I would just love to be able to do a bunch of that and just be able to reminisce about this crazy journey that I know it's going to be, and just be excited. How about you? Because you're going to have a lot more money. So, so what do you do at that point?
People keep asking me, they're saying like, oh, hey, when are you going to stream from your mansion? I was like, well, I don't think I'd ever get a mansion. I might get a house. I don't even want a house. I still want to rent, because I don't want to, like, something breaks, I don't have to fix it. I don't have to, like, mow my lawn. Yeah. I don't want to do any of that ever again. Really just philanthropic goals. And then I've really been thinking, so my last trip with my good friend Lucy, I was thinking about how we are in the next couple 100,000 years, the sun will get bigger, and we'll dry up our oceans, and we won't be able to live here. I was like, okay, that's not good. So I would probably like to. I'm gonna be one of those people. Want to go into space.
Nice.
I want to try to go, and maybe Mars would be cool. Yeah, so not like a permanent thing. Although my subscribers would probably be really, really angry if I didn't make videos for 18 months because I had to go to Mars and then come back. Guys, it's awesome. But yeah, so get a lot more money. I do want to go to space at some point because that'll be really cool.
Yeah.
I really just becoming the Brown Steve Irwin, and like say like, oh, I'm gonna sign up for the Giving Pledge, like Warren Buffett and everyone. I think you need like $1 billion to do so. I don't know if I could do it with like tens of millions, but yeah, it'd be that. Maybe get a bunch of dogs, but I also want an au pair for my dog. I want like a nanny, because like if I want to travel, me and the girlfriend want to travel. We need to have someone that we trust to take care of the dogs.
Yeah.
So we would get like a nanny for the dogs. That probably sounds so stupid, but
no, hey man, yeah, we use like an app. Like we started using an app, and we like anytime that we left town, and if our parents were available, like we would like interview a person and meet them first and make sure that they were good and whatever. Like dogs are your kids too, man. Like I completely get it. It's it's weird, you know what I mean? Like and that's the thing. Like I got a full family now. I got the dogs, got the kids, got the wife. So like, I want to travel, but it's just about making the time. And I think that for me, outside of any physical purchase, I think when people say that money can't buy you happiness, I agree with that statement in principle. But what I think is forgotten and is not elaborated upon is that money may not buy you happiness, but money can buy you freedom to take the time to do the things that make you happy.
Yeah.
And for me, that's like, so retiring from my job, and not that my job doesn't make me happy, but like if I don't have to work anymore because I have enough money that I don't have to go to work, then I can travel or take my kids to, because I work weekends, I work shift work, I work evenings. Like on the weekends, I can take my kids to the park, or I've never been to Disneyland before. My parents didn't have any money. They couldn't take me. Like I can take my kids, I can give them all of the experiences that I didn't get. And it's not about the money. It's not like, hey, here's a $3,000 handbag, kid, like enjoy. Like, no, it's those memories that you create with the people that matter. And that to me is what gets me probably the most excited. So.
Yeah. I feel like spending a lot more time with my friends just because it's, you don't get to that much when you're an adult because they work and you work and now like most of my friends work, so I can't, and my girlfriend, she works also, so I can only, it's really hard to still, even if again, I don't work, it's really hard to still see people. I was hanging out with my friend Mike the other day, and we met for lunch, we did a shot of peanut butter whiskey, and he's like, you want to come hang out, at my boy's place? Got this really cool man cave. I was like, no, I do have to stream tonight, and I do have to do a couple of other things. Like, come on, you can't. It's like, I'm sorry. So it does get hard because everyone wants to hang out on the weekends, and a couple people that can hang out during the week. So yeah, spending more time with friends is good. That is fun. And then lost my train of thought. Forget what I was going to say. Oh yeah, when we go and meet everybody, I think instead of having everyone like on my Twitter, like separate conversations, like, oh, hey, let me meet you here for drinks. I'll just be like, hey guys, mass message, I'm meeting here. Everyone please wear a name tag with your YouTube username because there's so many. That's what I might do. That's what me and Taps are probably going to do in DesignerCon. Have like one thing where we live stream together. When I can't buy a house, but it can fund the search. Prince. Oh, Prince is deep.
I like that. So I got to ask because you bring this up. So like you messaged me last night and said, hey, can we do it tonight? And I said, I can't. I got to spend time with the wife, and I worked all day, and I do. You're retired. Granted, you have a girlfriend, but you don't have kids and stuff that you got to worry about. Like you stream twice a day minimum. And sometimes you release videos on top of that in between. And not to say that you don't make money off of YouTube. I mean, obviously people give you donations and things like that. And I think I already know the answer, but I still want to hear it. Like what motivates you to do this? Because like you don't have to. Like Omi in 2 years, like even if it only went up to 10 cents, you would have more money than you would ever need in your lifetime to live a very comfortable life. And then to me, that's, I hesitate to throw out the word guarantee, but like, we understand where this is going, right? So, so like, you don't need to sit here for 3-4 hours at a time. You know, we did a live stream last week, 5 hours long, and then you're still hopping on to do another one 2 hours later. Like what? Yeah, JP, like, where does the motivation come from?
I think a couple of things, because you know, you and Dan Lee and Taps and Poor Man Printing and you know, Cowles, everybody, they have jobs and they can't do you know, it's really hard to expect Dan Lee to do a 12-13 hour shift at his job and then come home and do like a 2-hour stream or do videos on top of that. And the way that the Joker says in Batman, this town needs a better class criminal. Not that any of us are criminals, but I feel like if this is such a great community, and if I could be a place where everyone comes in and just like gets all excited together, and if there was, it was like a quote Bruce Willis in Live Free or Die Hard, where he's talking to Justin Long. It's like, there's somebody else to do it. Believe me, kid, I'd let them do it. You know, if there was somebody else that's just streaming 24/7, I'd be like, okay, maybe I don't have to as much, or maybe collab. But so I do that because I think the community deserves a place to
hang out.
Conglomerate,
congregate,
congregate like this. There you go. But also because it is, I guess I can't sit and do nothing. I mean, I can't, like, I finished Squid Games, you know, I rewatched Gilmore Girls. You know, it's only so much time I can go to the gym or work out. I guess I'm happiest when I'm building something, and even though that I know right now it's you know, not really making much money, but I think eventually, as time goes on, if I build a really good strong base and I get influence, and let's say I get 10,000 subscribers like Taps, or maybe at some point 20,000 or beyond, then it's like, okay, well, then you have a couple of different people that can you can say like, hey, I made a lot of these people money. And hey guys, as like a favor or whatever, this is my next project or what I'm trying to do.
Right.
And if I can get a bunch of people that also have a bunch of money that I help them get, it's like, okay, maybe, and if it's for a good cause, like, it's not going to be like, oh, help me get into space. It would just be like, help me, you know, buy a bunch of this land. And then again, another thing would be to say, okay, well, it's a tax write-off because it's for charity. And the other thing is just to help people, because there's only so many people you can contact, like on the phone. Hey, listen, how many people you could pitch 30 minutes to about Omi and say like, this is going to change your life. Where you can make a video and reach thousands of people, and maybe if, you know, in 5 years we have that, you know, I have that audience. It's like, hey, you know, this could be maybe not the next Veve or Ecomi, but the next Tesla, or you know, Ecomi, I feel like, is the Tesla of NFTs and the metaverses. And I feel like maybe in the next, you know, 5 or 6 years, we could have the next Ecomi of fast food, you know, instead of talking like, guys, it's amazing. Like, it's going to take over the world. Invest in this company right now. It's IPO. So maybe that's what I would. Was that anything close to your answer?
Yeah, no, like that's and I love that. Thank you, White Huffin. I love that there's so many different creators in the community that bring so much depth to the project. So like, as a perfect example, like, you are a champion of, and don't take this at all as an insult, because it's not at all how it sounds, but you are the layman's version of like, you're just easygoing, laid back. Like, we'll have a conversation with anyone about anything. I'll tune into your lives and I'll be like, what the hell are they talking? Like, this is just way, like, you'll talk about anything with anyone, and you're always open to giving people ideas and suggestions. And it doesn't matter that you're already a millionaire from Omi. You're just like, you're the people's person. So, and I love that about you. And then, like, as a perfect example, a couple people asked me like, hey, can you make a video on the AMA from last night? Can you do an update? I want to see it. And I was like, yeah, I'll look at doing it. But last night, like I told you, like, the wife wanted to spend some time together. So that took priority. And then this morning, right as I was about to, you know, okay, maybe I'll do it. I'm watching my daughter, so I can't really. I see that Taps put out a video. Taps, fantastic creator.
That was great.
More articulate than me in pretty much any sense of the word. And I mean, it shows in his subscriber count. I mean, people love the videos that he puts out. So I was like, no, you know, and I'm not competing against anyone on YouTube. I love everyone in the community. I talk to all the content creators now. You know, we all have a professional relationship. We all get along, or at least are neutral with one another. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I put out a tweet. I said, hey, everyone should watch Taps' video. I was going to do it. He did it better. Watch this. Like, and I love that everyone can support the community that way. And then I'll put out a video and I'll see content creators posting on it. Like, thank you so much for doing this, whatever. So like, I feel like everyone does a great job of talking about the issues that are important. Someone like Veve Vault or Dozer, the Comic Way, like focus on the comic side or whatever. I know nothing about it. So I watch their videos. And like, I love that the community has so many sources to go to for so many different things that they might be looking for, whether it's just that they're trying to have a conversation, you know, casually hang out, or if they want a video that, you know, educates them on the back end TA numbers like Champ puts out. Is there's something for everyone here. And as the community continues to grow, I think it's going to be awesome to watch all the creators grow with the community. And yeah, it's just exciting times.
Yeah, and one of my favorite things to do also with people, like I love to do this with people in general. But to go hang out with people like content creators that it is like kind of not too many other, unless you're also creating content and also you're answering messages and you're answering, you know, comments and all that. Kind of not too many other people kind of know what it's like, you know, to go through, especially when you're in the thousands of people, you know, like me and you. So to go and have drinks with you guys would be really fun.
Yeah.
To go and just like, I love that. I could party every day. My body would turn to absolute poop. But yeah. So if you guys come to not Dragon Con, Designer Con, that'd be great. Oh, apparently there's a new Dan Lee video as well. So that'll be exciting. Yeah.
Nice.
And I also love how two people can come out with a video on the same subject and they'll be completely different.
Totally.
And it'll be like, again, like me and Non-Fungible Wonderful, or let's say like you and Dan Lee, Format Printing and Taps, with a video on the same subject, and it'll just be two different points of view.
Yeah.
So I, even though that you said like, oh, here's Taps' things, he did it better, I would still like to see a video from you. And I think other people would too, like, oh, because he just has a slightly different perspective.
Right.
And maybe bring up a point or something that Taps wouldn't, just because, you know.
No, and that's a great point. And I mean, I've always, for me, the biggest struggle that I have, especially as a newer content creator, is I don't want to say that I haven't found my niche, but like, I don't want to ever get into a position where I feel obligated to put out content. So for me, I do it. I know it sounds cliche, but I do it because it benefits the community. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like I haven't been monetized. Like I don't get anything from putting out the videos. I understand all the content that I'm putting out because I'm putting it out. But I feel like if even one more person can benefit or gain from the perspective, then it's awesome. And I'm glad to be doing it. But at the same time, like I have other obligations, you know, I have to spend time with the family and I have to work and do those things. So for me, it's like, oh, great. Someone else did it and they did a good job of it. Like I'll shout them out and let everyone know that they did it. But at the same time, like I've always told myself that I'm never going to get to the point where I feel obligated to make content. Like for me, YouTube is not a career. It's not my primary source of income. And I'm not saying that other content creators are forced to put out content or start covering other projects or anything like that. But I don't, at least right now, foresee a situation in which I will ever be putting out content on my channel that's not Veve or Ecomi related. Because once again, I created this channel to interact with the community about this topic. So I'm not just going to branch out and start talking about, you know, other cryptos. And not that it's bad that other content creators do that. It's just, it's not an interest of mine. Like if you want to come participate with me, be in a live or watch my videos and interact with me and ask me questions, whatever, I absolutely love that. And that's why I do it. But yeah, like if I only put out one video every 2 weeks, because that's all that I feel needs to be covered in that time frame, and someone else puts out 10 videos, it doesn't mean that their videos aren't good or that my video is better. It's just, hey, at this exact moment, this is what I feel is important for the community to know. And we go from there.
Yeah. And some people that are either let's say like retired, or they're on like unemployment and they, you know, let's say they don't really need to go to work right now. They have their stuff taken care of. It's probably fun watching like David Rose's mom is here like most of the time. It's probably fun watching like Cavell Anderson upload like 3 videos a day. Like, oh, this is a good day. Like,
yeah.
You know, or if they're out doing something and then suddenly, you know, they come home after a day of 7 hours, like instead of watching like a show, binging Netflix, you're binging like, you know, a bunch of these YouTube content creators. Like, oh, I can't wait to watch these. It's really fun. It's really fun creating stuff that other people like and enjoy.
Yeah.
Trevor's life, 3 gelatinas. I'm gonna be rich. Do you happen
You're not
any,
wrong. You're not wrong.
do you have any one collectible that you get over any others, and not even for a reason? Like I picked Stelina for just because like a little undervalued at the time. Now it might be a little more properly valued, but I just picked it for pretty much no reason, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna buy a bunch of you. Did you ever do that?
So I've participated in every drop on the primary market since it came out in since I started in April, every single one of them. And I haven't gotten every single one. Obviously, I should make that very clear, but I've participated in every drop. For the most part, I don't pick up items on the secondary market because for me, that's where it becomes more speculative because I don't know enough about the collectibles to say, hey, it's priced at X right now. Is it going to go up? Perfect example. I put out a tweet yesterday saying, hey, I think that Peggy Carter is going to double in price. I think it's really undervalued with the Master Collector program coming in. And then they put out the announcement and they said, hey, this is whatever. And then I was like, okay. And I sat there for a little bit, listened to another like half hour of the AMA. And then by that point it had gone, I could have picked it up for $299. And then I picked one up for $380. So I have the worst, like I get just like, I just get so apprehensive about making decisions on the app now. And like my wife and I, like I consider her my business partner. Right. So even though I've invested most of the money from sources that I've come up with, like she's still, she's my life partner, but she's also my business partner. So like, I don't like making decisions without speaking to her. So for me, I'm not like a big like market hunter sniper person, but I'm just looking at my collection right now. And I'd say my favorite collectible, and it's probably cliche, but it's just every time I look at my collection, Yucky is like right at the top. And he just looks so funny, man. Like, I'm just like, what is this guy's chubby cheeks? I just want to squeeze them. And then my Lucky is also the first one that always shows up because I guess it's sorted by rarity.
Yeah.
So and I love my Lucky, and I don't know. And like, I got lucky by being lucky. Like, I was watching a stream from Cavell Anderson, and someone in the chat posted when he was doing his live, like, hey, Lucky's in the shop, and ran downstairs. And I was like, I told my wife, I was like, hop on your phone. I'm on my phone. We need to buy this or whatever. I was lucky enough to get one. And it just feels so like I'm attached to it now. Like, I don't know how I'm ever going to part with it. Like, it would have to be a pretty, decent amount of money, especially with the fact that it's a secret rare, it completes a set, and it's it's going to give me points now. Right. So,
yeah. I feel like also some people will have that advantage though, that, well, I don't think we will ours. Cause I a little sentimental and stuff like that. The first Bulbasaur I got in Pokemon Go, I'm never doing anything with that. That's there forever. I'm not evolving them. Maybe I'll evolve them. I don't know.
I mean, for me, I guess it would be Todd then, based on that metric. It would be Todd. Okay. Because Todd was the only one that I bought in the secondary market, really. And it didn't complete a set. Like, that wasn't the purpose of completing it. But it is the first collectible that ever came out on Veve. And it is generally the one that I show people because I feel like a lot of people know who Batman is. So that would be for me. But
yeah, that's true too. But I feel like some people will just be like, oh, yep, this you're going to give me 20 times what I pay for it? Fine. And then they do that, where we're just like, we love the money, but we can't do it because so I wonder, because I know they said light gamification, just something simple like a Wii Sports type of deal, like maybe a golf simulator in there, like how far can you drive the ball, or how many hours, like that would be really cool, like a type.
And could you upgrade your NFTs using Omi to give them like additional attributes and stuff?
Oh god, that'd be insane.
Like, not like a breeding program, but like I don't want to call it an evolving program, but I could definitely see. I think that gamification in the sense of actually playing games might take a little while to come in, and I want to set people's expectations accordingly. But I also think that when it does, it's going to be really cool, and that we're going to be playing it all day, every day. Like, I play the most nonsense games on my phone that require like so little brain power. It's insane. Like, I play the games that I play, like hill climb, like 2D little car that drives up a hill.
Yeah.
And like, you just see how far you can get, like just nonsense games, like ad cap, where you just click a button and like make your fake money go up, and then you buy additional businesses that do like just they're so simple. They're so simple. So like, when you say, is gamification going to come in? Yes. And I think it's going to be like, yeah, we'll probably never be playing Call of Duty or whatever on the VVverse, but we're going to see them partner with some gaming studios, I'm sure. And at the very least, I mean, we know that we have Street Fighter as a license. I'm sure that you'll see your Street Fighter characters fighting each other and having animations and doing things like that. And yeah, it's going to be an experience. And I'm just glad that there's so many iterations of what is going to come out, and it gives people things to be excited about. Like, to me, this is never a project that is, 6 months and then it's going to pass its prime and then it's just going to go downhill from here. Like, we're going to be building and building and building for years. And there's going to be such an opportunity to get involved with the project. Like, even if you get in at 10 cents, if you're listening to this video a year from now and you're like, am I late? I really don't think that you are. Like, there's still going to be, like, 6 months ago, they had 3 years worth of content that they were ready to have released for multiple drops a week. Since then, they have probably acquired hundreds of more licenses, and they will continue to develop their, rendering pipeline, releasing higher quality content, releasing collectibles that have animations that you can interact with. Like, we are still so early that you're going to be able to get into this project for years. Like, it's really going to be,
people would call like Super Smash Brothers or the Avengers like the most epic crossover event in history, but I mean it kind of is, because at the time, but they're really only taking Nintendo characters for Super Smash Brothers, and they're only taking people from Marvel and the Avengers. There was even talk of the Marvel What If series of having a Luke Skywalker in one of the episodes, because they're in the same universe now.
Yeah,
and the writers the company guys kind of shot that down, but we're getting, like you said, Street Fighter, Capcom, we have Marvel, we have Powerpuff, like all those people fighting. I would totally love to see like Bubbles and like Ryu start, like, we can get like Mortal Kombat. That'd be awesome as well.
Well, even being able to like recreate the scene from Captain America Civil War while they're at the airport and the Avengers are fighting against each other and stuff. Like,
can't wait for that Iron Man.
Oh yeah, there's just going to be so much. So I never asked you earlier, and I'm seeing someone in the chat right now. Talking about owe me $1. So I was just thinking, because I don't think I ever got your opinion on it. So like what is your end of your price prediction with these types of things coming out, and what do you see coming into to next year with these things coming out?
I mean, it's gonna be hard to say, because again, if you 10x from here, let's say you get the 7 cents, you need about a $15 billion market cap, which is not gonna say that's impossible. I think 5 cents is probably properly okay for the end of the year. I mean, is
that accounting for staking though, and removing tokens from circulation, or is that just
that's not accounting for that at all? Because I mean, when they say that, I don't think we're gonna be able to do that right away. That's probably something that's going to be either next year or released in conjunction with the VVverse.
Do you think that you won't be able to stake until the VVverse comes out? Like, do you think that they announced it this early to say, hey, now you need to wait 6 months?
I mean, they did that with the VVverse. They announced it in like May or June, and saying they'll come out in December. But the fact that the articles are likely coming out this weekend, you know what I mean? Like, do you think that they would be like, hey, here's the article for how you're going to be able to do this? Oh, BT dubs, like, can't do it for 6 months. Sorry. Like, I mean, we have the LOL MGA article saying, hey, we're partnering with them, and we have had no thing. They just announced so much. And again, I do like to think very conservatively.
Yeah.
So if they say, hey, we're doing this and we're starting in, let's say they start January 1st with all that. I don't know how much of that price that we're going to get in December will be cooked into that staking versus how much, how many people are coming in just until people start to stake and then they immediately sell. I don't know.
I think they're incentivized for if no other fact than to create positive buy pressure on the token. I feel like they're incentivized to have the OMI utility program roll out as soon as possible.
Yeah.
And for me, I don't know that you need the VVverse for the Masters Collector program or the OMI utility program. The only thing you would need it is for maybe Master Collector Pro, but even then, probably not. So I agree with you. I am worried that it might be delayed a little bit, but I don't foresee, once they're on immutable and the token is an ERC20 standard and it's easier to transact on layer 2, I don't foresee any reason why they couldn't open up the staking within a few weeks of that happening, because to me, it feels like something they've likely been working on in the background to create this project. And like they said, like they started working this on since October of last year. Like it hasn't drastically differed from what they were originally releasing. So, yeah, I don't know what the time frame will be. That will be interesting. I know that Dan specifically said in the AMA last night that there will be a rollout for the Master Collector program. We shouldn't expect to see it all at once, but he didn't give any timeline for the OMI utility program. So I don't know if that meant because like, hey, it's like way out, or if it is going to be coming sooner rather than later. I'm not sure.
I guess what I would say is that because I don't know when when big exchanges will come, because I do expect at least 2 bigger ones like a KuCoin, Kraken, or a Gemini, and then a bunch of other smaller exchanges by the end of the year. We do that. Most likely we will have all of those plus Coinbase, maybe even a Binance by next year. So I don't know when all of these will take place, when the staking will happen, when the Weverse releases, but I do know that they'll all be released before the end of next year.
Right.
Again, probably early to mid next year. So I think 20 cents by the end of next year is very reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is something that is not too outside the realm possible. Again, we could moon and that could be dwarfed. We get 50 cents by the end of next year. But still, that's, if you have 5 million tokens, well, that's what you have $1 million at the end of next year.
Do you ever find it difficult to talk about prices that we've never seen before? Like, do they sound foreign to you? Like we've in our lifetime, we have never seen OMI above 1.3 cents. Like, does it feel weird sometimes being like, yeah, I foresee, because I feel like people look at me sideways sometimes and I'm like, yeah, like, 20, 25 cents. Like it seems fairly realistic to me. And people are like, well, let's wait until we hit a penny first. And it's like, okay, I get that. Like if that's the milestone that you're looking for, but once again, what's the time frame, right? So like, I agree with you. I think with these catalysts released and assuming they're as awesome as we hope that they are, I definitely see 20 cents as being a very conservative price estimate. It feels weird to say because it's like 25 times where we're at right now. So it feels weird. I'm just
it's a lot, but I guess it's because we know where we're going. We'll get there eventually. We don't know when, but
we can't say when anymore. We're not allowed. They released ago. The when questions are gone.
It does just seem inevitable.
Yeah.
Again, we just don't know at what point in time. I'm going to say the W word. And the only thing that I do kind of worry about is some people not being able to handle that money, and they just have some very bad days because it's like, oh, I want to do this, this, and this. They get themselves in trouble. They get some whatever. Somebody was saying on Dragon Girl in real life, I forget where it was. Someone was saying something about that someone that they knew were selling all the collectibles as soon as they could. And if that's what you want to do, okay, there it is. If they want to sell all their NFTs the moment they can, I feel like the people that are doing that are, I don't want to even say short-term flippers because maybe they've had them for a certain amount of time. But I feel like they're not long-term thinkers. They're just kind of seeing what's right in front of them. They're not playing chess. They're playing checkers.
Yep.
And if they're doing that because they see something right now that they can easily 100x their money on, and they sell their NFTs for that, cool. But again, you have to think of long-term. Why am I not going to sell any of mine? Because again, that gets me more points each day that I can use in the Veveverse to buy land, and that I believe is going to be probably as much. Again, if we're at 10 cents next year, when we can do that, I'll put most of my money into the Veveverse because I believe that can 10x a lot before OMI can, or that can 10x before OMI can. So.
Well, and like they've said, like the Master Collector program is not going to be rewarding flippers. It's going to be rewarding holders. So like King of Kong, like I respect that, people that want to do that. And I'm not disputing the fact that there are people that will do that, and that's fine. But those are the same people that either don't understand what this project is, or people that don't want to be in the project regardless. And if that was the case, it was always going to happen regardless. And of course, it's their money. They're welcome to do whatever they please with it. But if you're planning to invest in this project for the long term, it makes absolutely no sense to sell all of your NFTs the moment that you pull them out. If you need the money to live and like that's the reason you're doing it, okay, that's fine. But like it makes absolutely no sense to do it otherwise, because you're just shooting yourself in the foot. And to be honest, like for people that, and I've heard it several times, for people that are like, oh, once the MTL comes in, the markets are going to crash, everyone's going to pull out their money or whatever the case may be. No, what's going to happen is you're going to try and undercut the next person who's going to try and undercut the next person to sell, because you don't actually have gems. You have a bunch of collectibles that you haven't sold yet. You're not sitting on the gems. And then you're going to sell a bunch of collectibles for super cheap. The people that understand the premise of what this project is going to do are just going to come in and immediately buy up all the collectibles that you're buying for cheap. And on top of that, everyone that's not already in the app that now has the ability to come into the app because they can buy the NFTs with Omi are going to go, oh, wow, a Christmas present early. Thank you so much for doing that. And they're going to buy up all your collectibles at a cheap price. And the floors are going to stay just where they are, because at the end of the day, as long as the amount of people are still in the project or increase, the scarcity is still going to remain. Therefore, the value is still going to hold. If a bunch of people that are already in the project say, hey, we're not interested in this project anymore, and they all leave, and we have no one new that comes into the project to fill that void, yes, there will be a dump in the markets. But eventually, as we've seen over the months, anytime that there has been a dump, whether it been because people need liquidity or people aren't happy about something, they get bought up. You're not buying anything from season 1 on the floor right now. It doesn't matter. Barda and Starfire went on a discount. They're still $2,000. It's not a discount, right? It's just it's a fluctuation. Like that's natural in any marketplace, and you are going to see those ebbs and flows. But people are not going to be leaving en masse. And if they are, they just simply don't understand the value proposition of the project. And if that's the case, that's totally fine.
Yeah. Some good news in crypto. Bitcoin's up to 62K, or it's 61.6 right now.
Oh man,
which is great. All-time high, I think, was 64.5.
64.5, yeah.
So break that. I've told people before, Bitcoin will be 100K by the end of the year. So they will.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And that's what people like people will say like, oh, this altcoin will 100x, and then people are like, Bitcoin to 100K, that's a 2x. It's not possible. And it's like, what? Like, just, especially with the ETF and like all the additional people that are going to be investing in it. Like, I think honestly, guys, Bitcoin to 100K does wonders for Omi. So support Bitcoin. Like, that's
100%.
That's what's going to bring people into the space, right? So
I think for right now, I don't have much money left. I know I keep saying that. I will.
Well, you did own Bitcoin, but you don't.
I did. I will I'll still participate in every drop. I'll try to get as much as I can, but buying on the secondary market, so expensive. I have 111 million Omi. I could do maybe 3 million on Omi, buying $3 million worth of Omi, or taking 3 million Omi and spending that on collectibles next year when I can.
Yep.
We get, buying NFTs with Omi, which might come out this year. But I'm just, next year, because if I buy this year, I have to pay taxes on that next year. So I'll do that come January. I might have enough left to do that by, let's say, 5 million Omi in the Veveverse, and then, 3 million to sell for taxes and whatever.
Right.
But yeah, as far as buying other stuff on the secondary market, I can't anymore. I spent like $3,400 yesterday on Ido and Captain America Secret Rare.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then that's
too much.
Like, we're at the point now where I can't either. Like I was finding ways, like I have a little bit of money tucked away here that I can justify putting onto this and whatever. Like I'm literally tapped at this point. Like I'm going to have to sell some collectibles at some point. So I just want to see which ones are worth money, but that maybe won't hold as much value. And I can always enter back into them later at another point if I don't think that they're going to moon quickly, but I'm limited to that as well. So it's painful. Goose, stop bullying me in the chat. I see you. Don't think that I don't see you. He says my favorite set is the Spider-Man. Foster, what's yours?
I didn't want to. There was a couple people before. It was like, I think it was Mark Hill, and like I'm just here to remind Foster about this Spider-Man Secret Rare. I was like, oh, I can't put that on. I can't do that to him. But I guess you saw it anyway.
Oh yeah, I see it. Yeah, I see. You know what? It's funny, and that's it. We all live and we learn, right? Like I'm out here telling people that if you leave the project, you're silly pants, and then I'm out here selling Secret Rare Spider-Man for $1,600. So what do I know, guys? Right? I'm just a guy on the internet. So
yeah. And I know a bunch of people saying that every 4 years this happens, no crop come around, which it does. But again, like 8 and 4 years ago, you weren't having institutional investors. Yeah. People, Michael Saylor wasn't around buying up hundreds of thousands of Bitcoin. Elon Musk and Jack Dorsey weren't around putting Bitcoin on their balance sheets.
Well, and that's it. And that's why this bull market in this cycle is completely different than any cycle that we've ever seen before. And like you said, like in 2013, no one knew what crypto was. In 2017, some people knew what crypto was. Yeah. And now in 2021, I mean, there's still not a ton of people, but now that there's major businesses, Visa, making it public, they're buying CryptoPunks, big companies like TikTok that are minting moments as NFTs, like all these massive companies getting involved, Twitter making profile pictures of NFTs a thing. Like all of these catalysts combined are going to bring crypto into the mainstream. I think crypto will not exit a bull cycle. I think it will have a pullback, but I think crypto is going to just become another form of stock trading or investing that will be invested in by the masses. And you're already seeing it, like I said, with Bitcoin ETFs, and eventually I'm sure an Ethereum one will come out and it will just trickle down. And we're kind of at the point now where, yes, we're early, but this will become adopted. And, we've seen it in the manipulation of the markets, even over the summer with the big businesses putting out a bunch of FUD information and then loading up on their Bitcoin lower. Like they're not going to want to have their values go down, right? Like you're going to continue to see more of this in the mainstream, and it's going to continue to go up. And Justin, randomly on an aside, yes, I do have a Binance. I'm not sure why you're asking that question, but I do. If you want to send me money, hey, there you go.
Oh no, he was asking because there is he has something called it's like Peg Ethereum or Ethereum Peg. Do you know anything about that?
I don't. But what I will also say, for what it's worth to anyone that's listening, the Ontario Security Exchange Commission basically boycotted Binance. So like, I don't even know if I can log on to it anymore. I do have one, but like, I think with all the crackdowns that they were doing, like in the UK, like my province where I live is also doing that, and they're breaking it. They're basically making it. They're giving like certain aspects and stuff that are not as accessible. I see on my webcam that my daughter is waking up, so I will have to wrap up shortly to go grab her. But do you have any final questions or thoughts that you'd like to ask me? Sorry, I know it's kind of sudden, but I work on her time frame. So.
Girlfriend's asking me, "Hey, what's the plan for tonight?" Is we're gonna go see the new Halloween movie.
Nice.
Go stay over, and then we're gonna. I might have to come back to my place to do the drop tomorrow, and then leave for Atlantic City. She's not gonna be happy about that. That's I could tell she's not gonna be. Not gonna be too happy, but I guess the only thing I would bring up real quickly is again me and buddy Rayfax looking for that 1680 owner, the one who sold it for like 1.4 gems or 1. Whatever.
Yep.
Get that back to him. I guess the last final thoughts and questions would be, Windfall, get an extra 10K now. You buy more OMI to buy more NFTs. If NFTs, which NFT?
I'm probably buying more OMI, because if I was buying an NFT, I would be buying it in the secondary marketplace. And I don't know that most of the NFTs that are in the secondary marketplace right now would jump up in. They might though. I don't know. That's a tough one. 10K. I could buy what? 6 Todds, 30 caps, 3 luckies, 8 Bartas. I'm just trying to think any collectibles that I already own or that don't already have. I could see with the migration to immutable, some of the NFTs going crazy once we get over there. I don't know. My biggest issue is if I buy a collectible, I can't part with it. So like, I think for me, like it would be the investment of what we're going to with OMI. I think with staking and everything, I would probably buy I would probably buy Omi because I can buy Omi and forget about it. Whereas if I buy NFTs, I have to worry about what price I'm selling it at and playing the time in the market. I guess you have to do that with Omi too. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. What would you do? Tell me what to do and I'll do it.
Not for you, but for me, it would just be, I would say getting more Omi, just because, so all of these collectibles, it might be hard for them to 10x, but Omi will, and then I could buy that. I could buy, definitely more Omi. Maybe if I had $10,000, I would put 9,000 into Omi and then 1,000 into collectibles. For the Harley Quinn drop, for the next few drops, so I don't have to sell my him.
Yeah,
maybe that's what I would do. And how to buy Omi, just YouTube how to buy Omi, and it'll go and
it completely depends on what platform you're using and a ton of factors. So it's and I'm sure a bunch of content creators will be making videos on that once Omi moves over to Ethereum and is listed on different
and be advised, Earth to invest, you will not be able to go and stake Omi for more Omi. They don't want to do that, just because, again, they don't want to take from the reserve and give out to the circulating supply. That would not be good. But that is, I guess that's all for us. You go be a good dad. I will go try to go to the gym and then go buy some of these Halloween tickets for me and the girl. So wish us luck. I really hope it's a good movie. And I'll catch you guys later. I would say bye-bye to Dashi. Bye-bye, Dashi. Thank you, Klaus, for coming on the podcast. It's great. And I'll catch you later, man.
Thanks for having me as always, man.
All right,
Take care, guys.
All right, bye.